In a place defined by the tide, it will be a day forever scarred by the wind. The afternoon of April 27th, the deadliest tornado in the history of Alabama tore through Tuscaloosa. Carson Tinker, Alabama's starting long snapper, was at home with his two roommates and his girlfriend, Ashley Harrison, when they sought shelter in a closet as the twister bore down.
The last thing I remember is I was holding on to Ashley and I was just squeezing her, and then I just got pulled out, I mean, just like that, and that's the last thing I remember.
The wind threw Tinker 100 yards through the sky. He landed in a field across the street, unconscious. Across Alabama, 247 people died in the day's tornadoes. In Tuscaloosa, 50 were killed, including Ashley Harrison. She was 22 years old.
I mean, I shouldn't be here, you know. I know that I'm here for a reason, just like there's a reason that Ashley's not here. I think about that every morning when I wake up, that I'm blessed to have this day, and I try to make the best of it. So, I mean, in the long run, I'd like to do anything that I can to help other people out that have been through similar things that I have.
And those thoughts are shared by all of us attending and watching games today. There have been so many things outside the playing field on people's minds. That tornado, the flooding here in Pennsylvania and throughout the Northeast, the wildfires in Texas that have caused so much devastation, and of course, tomorrow the 10th anniversary of the 9/11 attacks. Those lost were honored during the national anthem today with a color guard of New York City firefighters, followed by a flyover from the F-18 Hornets. And I don't think there was a person in this stadium that was not singing the national anthem. It was something special.
You know, Brad, I had a chance to go down to Tuscaloosa a few weeks ago to watch practice, and after practice, Jeff Purinton took me on a little tour of the devastated area from the tornado. And, you know, even though they've cleaned up a lot, you could still see what still has to be done. And before the game, when I was down on the field, you know, I walked by Carson Tinker, and it just tugged on my heart because for most of us, you know, after a few days, we get back to life as normal. But for him, he's living it every day.
Well, for at least the next 3.5 hours and through the weekend, let's find some escape in what we love. College football. Penn State won the toss. They want the football. So Cade Foster will kick. Davon Smith and Chaz Powell are back deep. Chaz Powell took one on the opening kickoff to the house last week for the Nittany Lions. There he is, number 2. The kick will go to Smith at the 4. And down at the 20-yard line, that's where Penn State will go to work with Rob Bolden, the sophomore quarterback. And a year ago, Todd, he goes into Tuscaloosa, and it's a tough spot. But as we take a look at our Chick-fil-A impact players, he's going to get help from this guy who had a big game last week, takes over for Evan Royster, who's in the pros now, 2 touchdowns a week ago. Jordan Hill defensively had a career high in tackles in Tuscaloosa last year. And Chaz Powell, we talked about not only in the secondary, but a great return man as well. There's your impact players for Penn State as they work from the 20-yard line. And it'll be Bolden to roll the throw on first down, and he's going to air it long, and he's got a man. Davon Smith had it in his hands and couldn't hold it.
Well, I was a little surprised Penn State took the ball if they won the toss. But I'll tell you what, they want to be aggressive in the first play of the game. This is a beautiful throw by Rob Bolden. And right away you saw a couple things. They're going to challenge Alabama, and they're going to move the pocket. The first pass play, Rob Bolden rolled to his right a little bit and threw a beautiful pass. Just a little bit too far for Smith.
And Joe's up there saying you can't do it any better than that. Now they go to the ground for the fullback. He got a yard maybe. A Penn State offense working against a defense that is so stingy, especially against the run.
Well, and this is the problem. When you come out and throw on first down, as good as that looked and as close as it was, and then you get stuffed on second down, now you play right into the hands of this Alabama defense. 3rd down and 7+ is when they're at their best, and they really get after you in terms of putting pressure on the quarterback.
They only converted one of these situations in Tuscaloosa last year, a 3rd and 7+, 3rd and 8 here. Bolden, plenty of time, fires a strike, got a man, and it's Justin Brown. So they're 1 for 1. They're as good as they were a year ago.
Well, it starts with the protection, and I mentioned if you have to pick one area of the game to focus on to see if Penn State will have a chance in this game today, it's the offensive line, how they hold up against this Alabama front seven. And 2 pass plays in this first drive, excellent protection for Rob Bolden.
On a 3rd and 8, he got 15. So first down at the 37-yard line for the Nittany Lions on their opening drive here in the opening minute. Joe Suey, the fullback, with Silas Red behind him. And a whistle.
Now they had to take a timeout. Yep.
Matt Austin, our referee today.
30-second timeout.
You know, it's interesting. When we talked to Jay Paterno and Galen Hall yesterday at Penn State, they said, you know, we moved the ball. We felt like we had some confidence moving the football, and our kids are confident coming into this game. And then we went over and met with Kirby Smart, and he said, you know what? It was kind of a perfect storm for us because they moved the ball on us, but they turned the ball over down in scoring territory, and we were able to jump on them a little bit.
That was Jay on the right and Galen Hall in the middle there in the booth. And, of course, you saw Joe Paterno, Jay's father, also a legendary coach with 402 wins, working from the booth because of the injuries he suffered back the first week of August when he was run over by one of his own players, Davon Smith, who was the intended receiver on that opening pass of the ball game. So Joe's working with a little shoulder problem and a little hitch in his pelvis, and he's walking around with a cane. But he showed us that doesn't need the cane all the time. He's trying to get back in his 6-mile-a-day walking shape at age 84. And there's Davon Smith. Luckily, Davon's 157 pounds, or Joe might have suffered worse injuries. So first down. Following that timeout. Play action. And Bolden fires it out, completes. Joe Suey, the fullback, and a pickup of 4 as we check in. Third member of our team, Holly Rowe. Holly.
Well, guys, all week it's been back and forth on who would start this game at quarterback for Penn State, and the coaches decided to go with Rob Bolden today. But they've told his backup, Matt McGloin, who is right behind him, neck and neck. They call him 2 number 1s to be ready. Joe Paterno told me yesterday he wouldn't be shocked if they split the reps because both guys can do certain things well. But right now, Rob Bolden looks like he's getting off to a good start.
He's off to a great start. Second down and 6 at the 41. Red weaves his way to a first down. Nice run right up the middle. Out to the 49.
Well, you couldn't ask for anything better for Penn State than this opening drive. They were aggressive with the pass on first down. They converted a 3rd and long, and now they're getting Silas Red involved, and they're nearing the 50-yard line. So this is exactly what Penn State would have hoped for coming out to start the game.
Silas Red, I mentioned, takes the top spot from Evan Royster, who ended up being Penn State's all-time career rushing leader, having gone on to the NFL. And now first down as they're close to midfield. They'll give it to him again. And Red, nice gain again. Got to the 47.
Nice mixture of run and pass right now for Penn State. Getting the ball to Red, the fullback ran it once, and then short passes, getting the ball out of Rob Bolden's hands and moving the chains. You have to stay ahead of the chains against Alabama. What I mean by that is you have to stay in 3rd down situations and less than 7 yards.
Right now they're on a second down again. 2nd and 6 for the second time on this drive. And now it's Bolden in the shotgun for the first time. Quick look to the right. Had it batted down as he was trying to throw a slip screen out in the flat to Davon Smith, and Damian Square says,
You know what? I think that Rob Bolden's lucky that was knocked down because Dre Kirkpatrick read this play and might have even picked the thing off had it come all the way to Davon Smith. Alabama was ready for that play on second down.
So now they find a 3rd and 6 again. Neither team did well in their season openers on 3rd down, as Penn State was 2 out of 10, but we saw them pick up a 3rd down and 8 earlier.
Right away, we talked about that offensive line, and Jimmy Okole, who was a starting right tackle, a senior, a 5th-year guy, just hobbled out of the game. So there's a replacement in the game already for Penn State on that offensive line at right tackle, and they're going to have to take another timeout.
Oh, boy. And there you see Okole. Adam Gress has come in to take his spot. We'll take a timeout here, just under 12 remaining first quarter. Penn State driving, but they've got a big 3rd down when we come back.
We went down there last year, got a licking. Their fans were great, treated us well, right? Let's be good sportsmen tomorrow. Now, that doesn't mean we don't want to kick their you-know-what.
Joe usually apologizes to the ladies and then says you know what anyway. Now, right now, his Nittany Lions on a good-looking opening drive. 8th play coming up.
Well, the two guys you got to really pay attention with this Alabama defense are Hightower and Upshaw, and they'll line up in a lot of different places. All right now this is Hightower, and Upshaw's up here on the end. They're both on the ends, going to rush the passer.
They show blitz, and the inside handoff to Red. First down and more. Nice play call there. On a 3rd down and 6, they got 9.
Excellent play call. They put those two guys on the outside to get up the field and rush the passer. They knew Penn State had a new right tackle in the game. Watch these guys come up the field, and they run right underneath them. They invited the rush up, and they lead with the tackle pulls around, and a nice play on 3rd down and another conversion on a 3rd and long for Penn State.
Michael Zordich comes in at fullback in front of Silas Red. As they shuttled around on that offensive line with Okoli out. And here's Red again. Nice second effort to get down to the 35, a pickup of 4.
Well, I'll tell you what, Brad, at the start of the show, I said, would Penn State answer the challenge physically? They did not do it last year. They were not ready to play the style that Alabama was playing. They are right now. They're taking it to this Alabama defense.
And the thing that Kirby Smart talked about with us as well, and you mentioned it earlier, but this is the trouble area for Penn State a year ago. When they get down around the 30-yard line, they had 3 turnovers inside the Tide 30. Right now they're just outside the 35, and they go straight ahead with Red, and he's down close to the 31.
Penn State's had to shuffle up front because right tackle Chima Okoli's gone out with a right ankle injury, but I saw him get up after the athletic trainer looked at him. He put his shoe back on, guys, which is always a good sign. I'll let you know if he's able to come back in, but they've moved Deontay Pinnell, their guard, out to right tackle and put up John Urschel at right guard.
All right, Holly, it's 3rd down and 2. They've converted their 3rd down so far, and if they get inside the Tide 30, they'll have another one. Red, he's close, but I don't think so.
It looked like he was going to get it for sure, and then he got pushed back.
I think Mark Barron's the guy that put the hammer down, and that happens to a lot of people that play Alabama. Now, Joe Paterno's up in the booth, and he's going to relay down to Mike McQuarrie and Tom Bradley, and the guys on the sideline, what they're going to do. There's Mike, former quarterback. And he's saying go.
It's an interesting dynamic because not only is Joe Paterno up in the box, but Jay Paterno and Galen Hall, the 2 offensive coordinators and play callers, are also up in the box. So Mike McQuarrie is the receiver coach. He's down there on the field. And Tom Bradley, you could see, even though he's the defensive coordinator, he was getting over to take a look at how far they needed for the first down.
Brandon Beecham's a little bigger tailback. He's in there right now.
This is unbelievable.
There goes another timeout.
Delay of game.
Oh, delay of game. Beg your pardon. That's not going to help him.
Still 4th down.
I thought they got the timeout called. And that chain of command, that might have cost them that much time.
Well, it's just different. You know, again, you've got your head coach upstairs. You've got your 2 play callers upstairs. Everything has to be communicated downstairs. And you want to make sure you have the right play called because you've had a beautiful drive.
So 4th down coming up.
Yeah, and now you've got the question, you know, what do they do here?
I think they got the timeout called in time. I think it's still 4th down and 1.
Penn State called their 3rd and final timeout.
They did.
Of the half.
Thank you very much.
Timeout. Penn State.
Matt Austin.
Their 3rd and final timeout.
Thanks, Matt. That's what we were wondering about because there was some, you might have overheard them say delay of game, somebody out of the field, but they did get the timeout called just in time. So the timeouts are gone, but they still got a 4th down and 1.
Yeah, not very good job of and you can't really say clock management because it wasn't like they had to call timeout because they couldn't get the snap. They just didn't know how to get lined up. They didn't have the right personnel. 3 plays so far early in the first quarter. So the good news, I guess, is it's in the first half and not in the second half that they lose all their timeouts.
As they come back onto the field, Brandon Beecham, I mentioned, is in at tailback. He's bigger, heavier than Silas Red. And they've also got Joe Suey in there, the fullback in front of him, who they do tend to use in short yardage situations. Here's a huge play in the opening quarter of this game. 4th and a yard. Here comes a blitz inside, and Bolden rolls with it, looking for the sticks. I don't know.
He reached the ball. He reached the football, Brad, and I think that's what got him the first down.
Boy, they put it right on the line, and now they do say first down.
Another gutsy call on this opening possession by Penn State.
No kidding.
It looked like Barron was going to cut him off, but watch him reach the football across the first down marker to assure the first down. It's where the ball is before his feet go out of bounds.
Great play by Bolden. First down inside the 30. 11th play of the Penn State opening drive. And now Beecham goes for a couple. Beecham had a good game last week as well in the opener. 7 carries, an average about 6 every time he touched it. The current drive, 13 plays in over 6 minutes. Boy, talk about what a way to open on a gorgeous day. By the way, I was going to mention, after Joe was talking at the pep rally, Dean DeVore is the PA guy, and he's also a meteorologist around here. He said there was a big storm center until Joe raised his cane right at the pep rally, and then he said the 2 storms went in opposite directions. As you can see, it's sunny and about 75 right now. Silas Red right into the middle of the pot. No gain this time, and now they're going to put themselves in that 3rd and long situation that Todd has said they don't want to find themselves in against this defense.
And again, last year when these teams played in Tuscaloosa, there were 8 situations where it was 3rd down and 7+. They only converted 1, and both of Rob Bolden's interceptions came in those situations. They got pressure and hit him as he released the football, and they got 2 interceptions in this part of the field last year.
They did pick up a 3rd and 8 earlier on the drive. Can they do a 3rd and 7 here? 4 receivers set as Bolden's in the gun. Flush from the pocket, throws on the run and low and incompletes. Intended for Justin Brown. And that'll bring out the field goal unit, which has been shaky at best for Penn State. So they drove in the length of the field, and now can they turn it into at least 3 points, or will a great-looking opening drive for Penn State go all for naught if Evan Lewis can't hit the field goal? He's 0 for 2 on the season.
They missed from 38 and 47 last week, and he also missed an extra point.
This one will be from 43 yards out. Trying to pick up his first 3-pointer of the year. It would be big to end this opening drive. Lewis, kick on the way, and it is good. Good looking opening drive for the Nittany Lions. Taking the length of the field, they stall, but they get 3 with 7:34 remaining first quarter.
ESPN's College Football on ABC. Brought to you by Buffalo Wild Wings. Wings, beer, sports. AT&T. Get it faster with 4G. Rethink possible. And Allstate. Dollar for dollar. Nobody protects you from mayhem like Allstate.
A lot of fun at Paternoville all week long. Got a little soggy out there at times with the rain that has hit this area and the flooding that goes with it. On a bright sunny day right now, though, Penn State does 54 yards in 16 plays. 7:26. They used half the first half.
Now, this is an area last week that Penn State struggled a little bit kicking off. So instead of Evan Lewis, it's Anthony Farah kicking off, who didn't kick last week, a little bit in Joe Paterno's doghouse, but he is back this week. And we're going to see him kick off a little stronger leg.
He's got D. Milner, Trent Richardson back deep for Alabama. Not only the starting tailback number 3, but can really bring it on the returns. Farah's kick high, and Richardson's going to snag it at the 6-yard line. And got out near the 30. 19-yard kick return for Trent Richardson. He'll stay right in there as we take a look at our Chick-fil-A impact players, because he's one of them. 144 yards on the ground last year in the win in Tuscaloosa. You can't talk about their defense without talking about impact players on the other side. Dante Hightower, one of the best linebackers in the country, and maybe the best safety. 2-time All-American Mark Barron is in the back end for the Tide. And here's A.J. McCarron making his second start of this young season. from the 25-yard line. Richardson, whoa! Hit in the backfield, and he somehow got about 3 out of it. That was a head-on collision with Devin Still as we check in and get an update with Robert Flores. Robert.
All right, Brett, Taco Bell studio update. Wild game in Ames between Iowa and Iowa State. Double overtime when Iowa's James Vandenberg connects with Keenan Davis. He squirts into the end zone. They have kicked a field goal, and they lead by 3. Iowa State can win it if they score a touchdown on their possession. Brad.
Big rivalry there. Here, Alabama going to the air, incomplete, intended for Marquise Mays. And nice job by Michael Malley, the linebacker, to drop into coverage.
Well, there's no question that this is a different Penn State team than Alabama faced last year. You saw it in the opening offensive drive, and you saw it in the first defensive play by Devon Still. And right now, 3rd and long is what Penn State's defense wants to get Alabama in as well, with a young quarterback and his first big start on the road.
And he's in an empty backfield right now with 5 receivers. 3rd down and 8. McCarron fires deep middle, in and out of Marquise Mays' hands, and the Tide will have to punt.
The ball was a little bit behind Marquise Mays, but 2 times Marquise Mays, who had such a big game last week with 8 catches, was hit as soon as he dropped the ball. Watch the ball, a little behind, and then he gets peppered at the end of the play. Penn State's secondary very in tune to who the go-to guy is in this pass offense.
So they're going to have to punt. Smith and Brown. Dual return man inside the 30-yard line from Cody Mandel. Oh, man, they got close to him. And it's a short kick. Fair catch called for and taken at the 37-yard line. 39-yard punt is all. Penn State's. Their defense holds. Their offense looked good on their opening drive. They lead by 3. Tonight, the Wolverines play under the lights for the first time ever in the Big House. Michigan hosts the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame. College football presented by Hampton Hotels on ESPN and ESPN3 tonight at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. And also streaming live on WatchESPN.com and Watch ESPN app. Brad Nessler, Todd Blackledge, Holly Rowe here at Beaver Stadium, where we've got about 108,000 watching Penn State with an early lead on the Crimson Tide of Alabama. Second offensive possession in the pistol set. Red gets a handoff from Bolden and only got a couple.
You know, last week when Penn State played Indiana State, they were so vanilla on offense. I mean, they actually ran the fullback 15 times. Right. I mean, everybody knew they weren't going to play that way against Alabama. And a lot of times that first possession, it takes a defense a little while to see what the team wants to do. And typically an offense will throw a lot of different stuff at you the first possession and then kind of settle into what they want to do. So I would fully expect to see Alabama's defense settle in a little bit better here because they are an outstanding defensive football team.
Bolden has looked good so far today. Here he is on play action on the bootleg. And throws behind his intended receiver, Andrew Zerba, the tight end. That'll bring up 3rd and long.
Tight end Zerba was a question whether he would even play. He got dinged in the head a little bit last week. He was out of most of practice. He got cleared to play, and they need him. He's a real strong blocker on the edge. Went through that battery of tests, and when they think someone has a concussion, and got clearance. And as Todd said, it's a big target out there at 6'6", 265 pounds. Now the 3rd down conversions, 2 out of 4. You're going to have to earn this one. Bolden, look out. Got rid of it to Red. He's got blockers in front. Uh-oh, he's got a first down and then some. He almost squirted out the backside. There's a flag down, though, at the 41-yard line. Might have a holding in the middle of that mess. But Red, with great second effort, would have had a first down unless this is against Penn State.
Holding. Offense 54. 10-yard penalty for the spot of the foul. Repeat 3rd down.
Matt Stankiewicz, the center. The pressure off the corner was so fast it almost didn't look like they were going to get that pass away. Yeah. And now they're going to be 3rd down and a mile back at the 31-yard line.
It was a perfect call again against the corner blitz. They threw the screen right into the area that was voided by Daquan Menzie. And Silas Redd is running with some authority, whether he's catching it or running it from the tailback position.
Third down at 16. Alabama's shown blitz. They back out of it. Bolden with time. Deep out and way out. Incomplete. Davon Smith was the closest guy, and Penn State will have to punt for the first time today. Alex Butterworth will come in. Marquise Mays will drop back deep. Marquise Mays, 8 punt returns in the season opener and a 12-yard average. And he might get a chance at this one. Runs up under the 32, and he's buried at the 32. Great hustle to get down to make the stop for no gain. Series history, Joe Paterno was Rip Engel's assistant the first time they played. And then in a national championship game, it was Barry Krause with a stop on Matt Gooman to give Bear Bryant a national championship. And the last time they played here in State College in '89, blocked field goal in the final seconds. And then last year, it was Alabama rolling at home 24-3. This is the 15th time these teams have squared off. They had a long series starting when my partner was playing quarterback here at State College, Trent Richardson. So far, sledding's been pretty tough. Joe Paterno never beat Bear Bryant. Had some great things to say about him yesterday and said he would be proud if he was still alive to see what Nick Saban has done with the Crimson Tide program. And there's the number 4-9 all-time against Alabama. McCarron, low snap, going to flare it out. It's knocked up in the air by Jack Crawford.
Jack Crawford wants a penalty because A.J. McCarron grabbed him to keep him from intercepting the ball that he deflected. A beautiful play by Crawford, timing his jump. He comes over the edge, gets a hand up, and then tries to go for the interception, and McCarron throws him out of the way.
Wow, he had a pretty good call there. Pass interference by the quarterback. That'd be a good one, wouldn't it?
Well, when the ball's tipped, there is no pass interference.
That's what he was looking for.
Yeah.
Third down at 6. McCarron fires across the middle and throws a strike to Brandon Gibson. Let's just see if it's enough for the first down, though. Right at the marker. I think he's got it. Might have to
be real close.
Measure.
Yeah, real close. Alabama does a good job of running what people call stick routes, and that is, when it's 3rd and 7 or 8, they run routes that get the first down. They run to that distance, try to turn and catch the ball with enough right at the catch to get the first down.
Short by just the tape at the end of the links.
They're going to run right to that marker. Now, certainly they don't see the yellow line, but they know where the first down marker is. And credit Penn State for being right there and not allowing the receiver, Gibson, to fall forward anymore after the catch.
If there was any question whether Nick Saban would fool around at a 4th down at about 4 inches, there's his punter.
This is the smart play. You don't want to give this Penn State team and this crowd any more reason to get excited.
They got enough ammo going already. Again, Justin Brown and Davon Smith are both back deep.
Fake.
And they pick up.
He didn't get it.
No, they didn't. Penn State picks it up. Smelly was the ball carrier. He thinks he got it. Penn State doesn't think so. I think they're going to have to measure again. Almost have to in this situation.
Well, if they got it by a nose. They did not get it by much if they got it.
Matt Austin, our referee, immediately said, I'm going to settle this thing by measurement. I'm not going to take a guess on something like this.
See, he caught the ball 5 yards off the line of scrimmage, and he is hit right at the first down marker.
Boy, this is huge. And first down.
By a nose.
Not even. A half a nose. Your nose instead of mine.
tell you what, I did not think that he got that. I thought Penn State was ready, and I thought they hit him, and I didn't see very much forward progress.
There you see Smelly, the tight end, puts his head down. He got popped by Glenn Carson. And again, just barely. First down at the 41. Smelly stays in there in a two tight end set for Alabama. I think that might have fired the crowd up even more than if Penn State would have gotten the ball back. They are making some noise in the student section. And Richardson got 2 or 3 as we check in with Robert Flores.
Well, Brad, the Cy-Hawk Trophy goes to the Iowa State Cyclones. James White ends it in triple overtime. Iowa playing their first triple OT game in school history. They lose in Ames 44-41. And Ohio State, despite getting outgained by Toledo, wins 27-22. Up next for the Buckeyes, a home game with Miami.
Boy, a huge win for Iowa State in that long-time rivalry. Richardson again.
Well,
a yard, that's about it.
Yeah, last year, Trent Richardson played the bulk of the game. Mark Ingram was hurt. He had 144 yards. 93 of those yards came after contact. Penn State did a poor job tackling him, and you have to gang tackle him because he's big, he's strong, but he's built low to the ground. And so far, anyway, Penn State has done a great job of gang tackling Trent Richardson.
And he's averaging about what he averaged in the season opener, about 2.8 a pop right now, as he comes out as an extra wide receiver. On third down at 6. McCarron in the shotgun in an empty backfield. Deep middle and caught. What a catch by Marquise Mays right in front of Nick Suke. Wow.
Nick Suke went for the interception and thought he had it. Watch him cut underneath the route of Marquise Mays. He thinks he's going to get the interception. He misses it, and tremendous concentration on the part of Mays as it goes through Suke's hands right into his own.
Marquise Mays, a senior out of Birmingham, one of the best catches he's ever made in that uniform. Trying to fill the hole of Julio Jones, who's an Atlanta Falcon. Somebody's got to make those big plays, and he just made a big one right down the middle. McCarron, blitz, across the middle this time to Bell, and Bell rings it up for another first down near the 11-yard line. Pick up of 14, so the last 2 plays, chunks of 29 and 14 for the Tide, and they're down in the red zone.
A couple nice throws by McCarron also. The post down the seam, and then the crossing route after he saw that Bell had gotten separation from Lynn. Did a nice job of leading his receiver.
He's got a little less noise to deal with in the left end of the stadium because the student body's on the other end. He's in the pistol set with Richardson behind him. Penn State almost jumped, and now Richardson gets the call, and he's stopped at the line of scrimmage. Gerald Hodges, the outside linebacker, closed in. Michael Mowdy, the other outside backer. Devin Still, the captain, on the defensive line, all there to meet him. This is where the going gets a little more tough down here.
Now this would suggest a play action down here, 2nd and 9. Or even a screen to Richardson potentially.
All 3 receivers to the right, and now Mays comes back in motion to the left side. There's the play fake Todd called for. There's the throw, and it's complete to Mays inside the 10 and down near the 5. Michael Mowdy got him down, but a pickup of 6. This is an interesting down right now because it's 3rd down, and they can get a first down at the 2. A couple more, and they'd be in the end zone. We'll call it 3rd and 3. Just outside the 5. McCarron again in a pistol set, but he's going to send Richardson in motion. Fires to the end zone. Touchdown, Alabama. Michael Williams, the tight end. McCarron, good-looking drive for him. Threw some strikes, including that one to his tight end for the touchdown.
Well, take a look now. Here's the tight end right on the line of scrimmage. Smelly was in the slot. He goes out, and that's a beautiful throw right in between 2 linebackers. Hodges and Carson were closing in on the tight end, but McCarron really stuck it in there.
I don't know how he snuck it in there. That was a great throw, ending a 69-yard drive, and the extra point is good. So Alabama has answered Penn State's call to take the lead on the road. A.J. McCarron, some big throws to Marquise Mays and Kenny Bell, and then to his big tight end, Michael Williams. Bama leads 7-3. Alabama on the road with a lead now, 7-3. Our college football presented by Buffalo Wild Wings. A.J. McCarron, 5 out of 6 for 59 yards on that drive. 2 big third down completions. And then he really threw a strike to Williams for the touchdown.
And you know, after the fake punt was successful, it was almost like McCarron just got a new sense of confidence in that whole offense, because they were kind of struggling a little bit before that play, and then all of a sudden he got hot and made a couple big-time throws.
You can tell he's even sitting taller in the saddle down there on the bench right now, getting congratulated by his teammates. So now Chaz Powell and Davon Smith await the kick. Cade Foster. Davon Smith will take it at the 9. And only got to the 19 or 20. Good coverage. Alex Watkins got down there to make the stop. So now we see Matt McGloin. We expected both quarterbacks. We expected 2 series out of Bolden and then going to McGloin. Bolden played real well. Todd, is this the right thing to do? I guess you told the guys this is how we're going to play.
Yeah, I think you have to stick with what your plan was going in, even though Rob did look much more confident, much more decisive than he did last year against Alabama. And what Matt McGloin brings, he's got a little swagger. He's got a lot of confidence in himself, and he's got very good field awareness. He doesn't have as big an arm as Bolden, but he's got excellent awareness in the pocket.
We'll set him up at the 19. Quick slant is behind Moore, his intended receiver. And it was tipped, I think, by Mosley. So his opening throw is incomplete.
The last time Matt McGloin faced an SEC defense, it didn't go so well for him against Florida in a bowl game. 5 interceptions. 17 for 41 on that day.
In fact, the Penn State quarterbacks in their last 2 matchups against SEC teams, not good at all. Everybody else, not bad, but not against the SEC in Alabama and Florida. Oh, and now Red's leveled. And now that Alabama defense led by Mark Barron starting to get fired up because they know they've got Penn State deep in their own end.
Well, and again, that first drive, they saw some new things. They had to adjust on the fly, but when you have a veteran defense, you can make those adjustments. They look settled in now.
Good, hard-hitting first quarter. Number 3 Alabama on the road, leading number 23 Penn State. 7-3 here in Happy Valley. Starting the second quarter, Alabama leading Penn State. And Penn State with a 3rd down and 9 to open up the second quarter.
It's the 4th time in the game now. They've been 3rd and 7 or longer. They converted 1 of their first 3, but haven't been so successful since then. And again, this is the play, this is the time when Alabama's defense really makes it tough.
Matt McGloin again is in at quarterback. And they're going to come with the pressure on McGloin. Throws and incomplete, intended for Smith. And Smith gets tangled up there with Dre Kirkpatrick. Fans were looking for a penalty. Don't get one.
Now, there was a lot of body contact and arm contact while the ball was in the air. Watch the top of the screen. Dre Kirkpatrick on Smith. The ball's in the air when they're still battling in there, and that could have been called something against Kirkpatrick.
And had Smith turned around, that pass was pretty close to being on the money. Butterworth now to kick near his own 5. Alabama might bring some heat on the punt. They did, but he got it away. And fair catch called for and taken just inside the 45-yard line. Alabama is going to have good starting field position. Well, coming up tomorrow, Sunday NFL Countdown expands to 3 hours and moves to a new time slot. Boomer, TJ, Mike Ditka, Chris Carter, Keyshawn Johnson, Bill Parcells. 3 hours of insight and analysis to get you ready for the first Sunday of the 2011 season. NFL Countdown tomorrow, new time, 10 a.m. Eastern on ESPN. With Todd Blackledge and Holly Rowe and our ABC on ESPN crew, Brad Nessler with you from Beaver Stadium, where the Tide leads 7-3 And they take over at their own 44-yard line. Eddie Lacy's in the lineup for the first time today. At tailback, and he flanks A.J. McCarron in the gun. McCarron with the quick outs, got it to Smelly, the tight end. Nice gain into Penn State territory as we check in with Robert Flores. Robert.
Hey, Brad, for a second consecutive week, Auburn gets a close call. Hosting Mississippi State, 10 seconds to go. Chris Ralph stopped inside the 1 by Ryan Smith. Auburn beats number 16 Mississippi State 41-34. Brad.
Big game in the SEC. I thought Mississippi State would get that one today. Auburn hangs on. They're living the dream so far through 2 weeks. Second down and a couple. And it's Lacy. Cutting it outside, puts his head down. And he's going to be about a yard shy. Gerald Hodges, nice job by the outside linebacker. Knock him out of bounds. Trent Richardson on the sideline. We expected to see Lacy a little bit taller, maybe a little more wiggle to him. He had a good game last week in the opener. Actually more yardage than Richardson had. This is a really big third down and 1 for the Penn State defense. They spread him out now and put Brandon Lewis in as a big fullback in front of Lacy. He'll lead the way. Lacy's got a first down. Picked up 5. Let's check in with Holly.
Well, guys, coming into this game, Alabama was in a similar situation to Penn State, rotating 2 quarterbacks with A.J. McCarron and Phillip Sims. But Nick Saban made the decision this week that he wanted continuity in this game for his offense in a very hostile environment. He was quick to point out that there's still competition at the quarterback position. They said normally their starter would get 75% of the reps in practice, but they are split right down the middle. But today is a rare situation. They want McCarron just so everybody's on the same page.
Leggy's handled it beautifully so far, I think.
Yeah, he really has.
Here comes a blitz. Screen pass should be the right play for Lacy. And a nice job, though, by Jordan Hill, who was one of our impact players, to get in there from defensive tackle and make the stop.
You know, when I watched the film of their game the first week, I thought A.J. McCarron played better than Phillip Sims. I mean, he looked like he was a step ahead in his decision-making, played with a little bit more poise. He had 10 possessions, there were 5 touchdowns. He did throw 2 interceptions, but I understand what Nick Saban has saw in him and why he's going with one guy in this kind of an environment.
McCarron's hit his last 7 passes. This time he hands it off. A good tough run again, this time by Trent Richardson, who just checked back in there on a 2nd down and 4. And he's got the first down.
Yeah, and a couple runs behind that right side now. Anthony Steen, the right guard, and big DJ Fluker, the right tackle. One of the biggest guys in college football at 6'6", 340 pounds.
You don't want to give Trent Richardson a head of steam because he looks like he's a little more warmed up. You saw him clapping after that last run to pick up the first down. Tom Bradley, defensive coordinator for Penn State, says, you know, he'll get 4, then 12, then 20, then a touchdown. So you got to watch out about getting number 3 warmed up. 1st and 10 just outside the Nittany Lion 30. On the stretch play, it's Richardson. And there he goes on one of those runs that I just talked about. All the way down inside the 10. 22 on that one.
Well, this time they went to the other way. They went to the left. Behind the left tackle, Barrett Jones, and number 17, Brad Smelly, the tight end. Look at the tight end's block. Holds right on his man. Mahdi is blocked by the tackle, Barrett Jones. And you mentioned it, once he gets into the 2nd level of your defense, he is a difficult guy to tackle at 225 pounds.
Alabama 1st and goal at the Penn State 8-yard line with a 7-3 lead. Richardson fights his way to the 6, got 2. Kyrie Fort made the stop defensively, number 11, the inside linebacker. Right now, just outside the 5-yard line. If you're thinking about play action, this would be the spot maybe. McCarron comes back into the huddle.
The only thing I wonder about that is they've got this Penn State defense on their heels a little bit with the running game. And you mentioned Trent Richardson is getting warmed up a little bit.
They're in the gun, but Richardson's right to McCarron's right hand. It's just a straight drop and a throw to the end zone, and it's over the head of the intended receiver. And Kyrie Thornton might have gotten a hand on it. I'm not sure. He went airborne to make the throw high anyway from McCarron.
The only reason I didn't love that call is because you had some momentum running the football, and it was second down. And now it's third down, and you almost have to throw in this situation. And Penn State will be a little bit more in tune to it.
And the element of surprise on play action is gone. Or you would assume it is. Now the student body getting into it down there.
Nick Saban wants a timeout.
Yep. Alabama will take a timeout on a vital third and goal.
The first timeout of the half. It'll be a 30-second timeout.
10:54 remaining in the quarter. And this is a vital time right now for Alabama. They don't want to miss an opportunity here. On the road with a chance to maybe go up 14-3. And though Penn State, Todd, early and on their opening drive was very impressive. They got stuck with the field goal. Alabama takes it down, and McCarron's played really well, and now if they get another one here, they're going to have it rolling their way. Well,
McCarron settled down and played well, and more importantly, that Alabama defense that returned 10 starters that we think could be as good as any defense in the country, they settled down. They got a couple stops. They got good field position for the offense. And again, by doing so, they've quieted this 108,000 people as well.
You talk about 8 guys on their defense. Todd McShay, our own Todd McShay of ESPN, claims that Alabama's got 8 guys on their defense that are in the top 150 prospects to go in the National Football League. So they basically got an NFL defense out there. Right now, Penn State trying to come up with a defensive stop of their own. On a third down and goal. Big play for the Nittany Lion defense. McCarron in the shotgun. Here comes the pressure. He's flushed out of the pocket. He's going to have to tuck it, and he won't get anywhere except to the 4-yard line. Nice job in coverage and with the rush by Penn State. Devin Still and Michael Maury bring him down, and Alabama will be held to a field goal try.
Big stop for the Penn State defense. They needed to hold them to a field goal attempt.
And Jeremy Shelley will come in to try it. McCarron to hold. Shelley's 2 for 2 on the year. There's his numbers from last season. 22-yard field goal attempt to try to make it a touchdown difference. Kick on the way, and he just tucked it inside the right upright. Field goal is good. Alabama and Nick Saban add to their lead. 10:08 remaining first quarter, and now 10-3 Alabama. That's the last chance for drivers to make the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup. Dale Earnhardt Jr., Tony Stewart fighting for their postseason lives, and Denny Hamlin and Paul Menard look for a victory to lock their spot in the chase. NASCAR Sprint Cup Series at Richmond tonight. Coverage starts basically when we're done playing football here, 7 o'clock Eastern time. So after a 52-yard drive, Penn State's defense comes up with a stop and forces the field goal by Shelley. Alabama 10, Penn State 3. Just over 10 minutes remaining in the second quarter. Cade Foster set to kick away to Chaz Powell and Davon Smith. Again, Powell's got 2 career kick returns for touchdowns, including one in the opener last week. These guys have kind of fought over these returns the first couple of kicks. Let's see if we have a decisive choice here. It's going to be Chaz Powell at the 10. The return onto the right, and now he cuts back in the middle, and he only got to the 20-yard line. D. Milner, nice job on the special teams to make the stop.
Well, the guys on this defense, Courtney Upshaw, a linebacker who's 270 pounds. You've got Dante Hightower, who's 265 pounds. And then you got the safety, Mark Barron, who's 220 pounds. These 3 guys are the heart and soul of this defense, and they may be at their position as good as anybody in college football. So that's what you're dealing with if you're an offense going against these guys. And not only are they talented, they play hard every play, and they're so experienced. They've played so much ball, they understand this defense inside and out.
Almost not fair having linebackers that weigh 270 pounds. McGloin on the give. The red got 4. Penn State trying to reestablish their ground game with Silas Red.
Well, and again, first down is so critical to be successful against this defense. You know, I love passing on first down, but if you come up incomplete throwing on first down and it's 2nd and 10, you are behind schedule against this defense. So a run for 4 yards is a huge win.
Here's Penn State going no huddle for the first time this afternoon. Again, they're in the eye with Suey, the fullback. 2nd down and 6. Like a little bit of confusion in the backfield. And Red only got about a yard. Looked like McGloin was turning one way and he was going the other.
Well, Alabama does a good job of waiting until you get set and maybe make a check and then switching to a different defense. And I think what happened to Matt McGloin there was he wanted to check again and realized he didn't have time, and they had a negative play.
Did a pretty good job just to get over there to get the handoff. There's Bolden, who started the game. It was very impressive on the opening drive that netted the field goal and gave him a 3-0 lead. McGloin, the junior, out of Scranton, Pennsylvania. Now he's going to set up Joe Suey to his right, which is where the pressure's coming from. McGloin fires and trying to tuck it in there, and it's incomplete as Dre Kirkpatrick makes a nice play on the ball to knock it down.
Well, you can just feel this Alabama defense like a boa constrictor starting to tighten up on this Penn State offense. And that time, even if the ball was caught, it was going to be short of the first down marker. And that's what this defense does to you. They squeeze you, and they don't give you any free plays.
The Restrictors, I like that, is their defensive name. Marquise Mays waiting on the kick from Alex Butterworth. 3rd straight time Penn State held without a first down. And this punt takes a Penn State bounce. Very good one inside the 30-yard line. That's where Alabama will have it, leading by a touchdown. We've got 8:24 remaining in the first half with Alabama in front by 7.
ESPN's College Football on ABC. Brought to you by Dr. Pepper. With 23 flavors, Dr. Pepper is always one of a kind. Ford, drive one. And Taco Bell, think outside the bun.
From Mount Nittany in the background and into Beaver Stadium in front of 108,000. Alabama leads 10-3. Coach's Trophy is here. Presented by Dr. Pepper. All leads up to the All-State BCS National Championship game. Wouldn't these two teams love to be there? A lot of people think Alabama's got the power to be. They came in ranked 3rd in the country against number 23 Penn State. They've got the lead as they start this drive here with 8:24 to go in the half. Oh, Trent Richardson's leveled by Devin Still.
Well, similar to the first play of the game. A handoff to Trent Richardson. Devin Still quick off the line of scrimmage and into the backfield for a big play. He's going to come right through the guard and right into the face of Trent Richardson. That is a quick, big man making a big play behind the ball.
Loss of 5. 2nd down and 15. McCarron with 3 wide receivers. Penn State showing blitz. They back out of it. They'll go with a quick opening draw to Richardson, and he only got a couple. And now Penn State's defense has got Alabama right where they want them. Devin Still has had a huge first half. The captain of the defense, 310-pounder out of Wilmington, Delaware. Right now he's going to go out. They're going to bring in their pass rush group and their nickel package because it's 3rd and 13.
And if you're A.J. McCarron here, now you have settled down. You got to be smart with the football here on 3rd and 12.
Marquise Mays has been his big play receiver. You see him in motion toward the line of scrimmage. The pass is out in the flat to Richardson. He turns around and sees nothing but a pride alliance, led by Nate Stuper. And Alabama's got to kick it.
Not only was that a good stop for Penn State, but it should give them decent field position after the punt here. And again, in a game like this with two defenses playing pretty well, field position is critical, and that's all the business of the special teams.
Mandel to punt around his own 15-yard line. High snap and a bad punt off the side of his foot. But it takes an Alabama roll. It's going to be scooped up by Justin Brown, and somebody called fair catch, I think. So I believe that's the call anyway. They blow the play dead at the 29-yard line. Chaz Powell's out there talking to the official, and Matt Austin says timeout. We'll take it along with him. 6:18 remaining in the first half. Defensive affair on both sides of the ball here at Beaver Stadium. A little over 6 minutes remaining till halftime, and time for our Aflac trivia question for today. How many Alabama head coaches have taken the field for the Tide since Joe Paterno became Penn State's head coach? Think it over. There's one of them. There's Joe, all 402 wins. If you're wondering where the glasses are, Joe is nearsighted, so he can see the field fine without the legendary glasses that so many people don around here as sunglasses. At the 29, Bolden back in and has it batted down at the line of scrimmage on a 1st and 10.
Now, again, after that first drive where Penn State gained 54 yards, the last 3 drives have only netted them 10 yards. And you can just feel that Alabama defense settling in. And again, throwing on first down, you have to do that some, but you better complete it, because 2nd and 10 puts you in a difficult situation.
That was Jesse Williams, the junior college transfer, that knocked that one down. And now Bolden will give himself a little more room to see what's coming in the shotgun on 2nd down. And it's a draw coming back the other way, and it's a loss of a yard as Reds drop by Mosley. Now they find themselves in a 3rd and double-digit situation. Now getting the ball back and forcing Alabama on a 3-and-out and a short punt.
Yeah.
And they're not doing anything with it yet.
And again, it gets back when you have incomplete or a negative play on first down, it just puts you off schedule so much against this defense.
Derek Moy, their biggest receiver, has only had 1 pass aimed his way so far. Bolden down the middle, completes, and he got it to Justin Brown for the 1st down.
It was a big-time throw by Rob Bolden, because he had pressure coming from Courtney Upshaw right up into his face. And again, this is 274 pounds coming at you, and he hung in there as long as he could and made a big-time throw on 3rd and long.
Regardless now what goes on this drive, they just used some clock. They moved it out to the 41. Even if they have to punt, they're in a lot better situation than they would have been. Joe Suey again in there at fullback. They use him as a receiver at times. Reds behind him on a 1st down. And Bolden's going to throw. Lofts it down the sideline. Incomplete. Intended for Derek Moy.
See, this is what Alabama does to you. And this is Nick Saban's influence. They show you a defense, and they get you to change the play. And then as soon as you change the play, they switch also. So they showed blitz. Rob Bolden checked to a quick throw, thinking he'd have man-to-man coverage against a blitz. And then Alabama jumped out of it, and he had nowhere to go with the football. And again, now it's 2nd and 10.
And luckily, he threw it wide enough down that sideline that Alabama didn't come up with the interception. We've got 3 receivers here on 2nd down and 10 at the 41-yard line. Bolden's going to roll and throw on the run, and almost caught by Davon Smith. But Dre Kirkpatrick says, He's done a nice job on that corner. Dre Kirkpatrick, preseason All-America choice by some people. Holly?
Well, this is something you don't want to see if you're an Alabama fan. Courtney Upshaw, number 41, just taking himself out of the game right now. On the previous plays, guys, he was hit in the back. I saw them treating his upper left hip area, kind of on the back of him. They were putting what looked like some of that icy hot rub or stuff on it, but he's in obvious pain. Guys just jogged off the field. That's a huge loss for the Alabama defense. His replacement, a redshirt freshman. We'll see how he does.
All right. Upshaw, one of the captains of the defense that Todd talked about a few moments ago. Bolden in the pocket, fires across the middle, got his tight end, and the ball comes out. Alabama's got it. unless the play was blown dead. We got one official with his foot on a first down. We've got Alabama with the ball in their hands, Daquan Menzie. And now the referee comes over, and Mike McQuarrie says, somebody make a call.
Well, the ground can't cause a fumble. And so the question is, was he down before the ball came out, or did the ball come out as he was going to the ground?
The head linesman is saying that he was down. Oh, boy, I don't know. Looked like it was out. Kirkpatrick made the hit right on the ball.
Yeah, from that angle, it looks like a fumble. And again, Zerba did not have any contact all week, remember, because of the head injury.
Ruling on the field is the ball carrier's knee was on the ground before the ball came out. Before the runner is down, it results in a first down.
And Penn State wants to try to get this ball snapped as quick as possible. Mike McQuarrie is saying, get up there.
Under further review.
And the play is going to be reviewed. Dick Honig is our replay official. And my guess is this one's turning around, Todd, although the call on the field was a completion and down by contact with the ground. So now Matt Austin comes over to put the headset on with an official review going on.
This is a critical play because, as you just mentioned, even if Penn State doesn't score on this drive, they've flipped the field even if they have to punt the football. But if this is a turnover, as it looks like, then Alabama is going to not only get the ball, but they're going to be right back in good field position again. So a critical play and a critical call coming up.
I'm going to say I don't even think it's close.
I mean, his knees are not even near the ground.
Oh.
I don't think that could be anything but an interception.
I think we're going to have a reversal.
I mean, you could have said his shoulder was on the ground, but even his shoulder was off the ground when the ball came out.
He sure looked airborne completely when the ball was in the air and Alabama was all over it.
You know, Drake Kirkpatrick was just trying to go low on a bigger target, and he just, fortunately for him, got his helmet right on the football.
Just talking about him being on some preseason lists as an All-American, one of those star players on that star-studded Alabama defense. Yeah. He's had a lot of big plays already today in the first half.
Yeah, we featured Hightower, Upshaw, and Barron, but at his position, he might be as good as there is also.
So we await the official review. Joe Paterno does from the booth. Nick Saban does from the field. Matt Austin's going to have the call for us here with 4:41 remaining in the half.
Now, I think whichever team gets this call, the play to go with would be a play action and take a shot deep. I think if Alabama gets it, you try to stick a stake in them right now with a big play. If Penn State gets the call, they go
review,
deep.
The ruling on the field is the ball was fumbled before the runner was down, and there was a clear recovery by Alabama. It'll be Alabama's ball, 1st and 10 at the 50.
That's why we have reviews. Yeah, that's the right call. So a big play by the Alabama defense in what would have been a first down in Alabama territory, but instead they hit there. Zerba, the ball out before his shoulder or any part of his body even touched, and then the recovery by the swarming Alabama defense, and they've got it right on the midfield stripe.
Now Marquise Mays, who has been their go-to guy, is at the top of the screen. This is him right up here.
First down following the turnover. McCarron in the shotgun. He's looking Mays' way, but he's going to have to come up short to Trent Richardson, his safety valve. And Richardson got about 6 before he lost his helmet on the hit by Michael Mauti.
See, this is what McCarron did not do last week in the first game. This was a call to throw the ball down the field. But watch McCarron as he comes back. He's going to see the pressure means I can't wait for the play down the field. Still gets in there, so he dumps it off to his outlet receiver, Richardson. He didn't do it last week. He did it today.
They got a good gain out of it. 7 yards, 2nd and 3 as we approach the 4-minute mark. A.J. McCarron stays in the gun. Pressure coming off the corner from Penn State's defense. Zips it down the middle. What a nice play by Michael Mauti, the linebacker. Mauti, whose dad, Rich, was a wide receiver here and then played in the NFL. And he's got that football gene that so many Penn State players. Joe Paterno's coached so many father and son combinations. And boy, on the end of that, talk about laying a lick by Nick Suke. Watch this. After the play and after the deflection, he let the intended receiver have it. Here's the biggest 3rd down of the game so far. And the Penn State crowd knows it. That's Mays that was in motion. Now he sets up on a wing to the right on 3rd down and 3. McCarron, the quick throws complete, got it out. And a first down to Kevin Norwood. That's his first catch of the day.
McCarron looks very poised today. You know, on the road, first big test, a much different opponent than he faced last week in Kent State, and he looks very decisive with the football.
You know, everybody's saying, well, what do you mean it's his first start? Who did he take over? Greg McElroy was 24-3 as a starter at Alabama, and he's on injured reserve right now, the New York Jets. So there was a lot of leadership. This guy might have a considerably bigger arm than Greg, but nobody's got more brains than McElroy had running this show. First down at the 37. Here's the stretch to Richardson. Nice run by Trent Richardson, one of the best he's had. 5-yard pickup. We check in with Robert Flores.
Hey, Brad, right now Duke is giving Stanford all they can handle on ESPNU. Cardinal up 10-0 until Andrew Luck is picked off by Lee Butler, who takes it the other way. Blue Devils have lost 42 consecutive games against ranked opponents, but late in the first half, they're down just 3. Meantime, East Carolina up on Virginia Tech 7-0. That one also late in the first half.
All right, Robert, thanks. Keep us posted. 2nd and 5 here. Alabama with a touchdown lead, trying to add to it before halftime. And it's Richardson weaving his way near the first down marker, but a yard shy with 2.5 to go in the half. So a big 3rd down. It's like the crowd just took a big deep breath thinking, okay, we got to really go here on 3rd and 1. Especially the student section in the end zone. Now the pom-poms come out. As soon as Alabama breaks the huddle, the noise will begin again. They picked up their last 3rd down on a quick throw by McCarron. This time he's under center with Trent Richardson behind him. And he's going to roll the throw to Richardson. Got it to him, and he got the first down and then some. Diving forward near the 22-yard line.
Well, 3rd and 1. Everybody's expecting a handoff to Richardson. I think Nick Saban and Jim McElwain are thinking we'll go for it on 4th down if we don't make it. So let's go play action. Maybe we can get a big play, but a smart decision, again, get the first down and then get a new set of downs with the catch by Richardson.
Richardson, a good receiver. Caught 23 passes last year, 4 of them for touchdowns. 7th play of the drive. 3rd down passing. A.J. McCarron's been spot on. Here he is on first down to Richardson again. And he's brought down by Jordan Hill.
Can't stress to you enough how important that little throw is. You look downfield, and the rule of thumb for a quarterback is you look deep to short. So the routes downfield, you look, if it's not there, dump it down to an outlet receiver, and you get 8 yards. 2nd
down and short. McCarron looks to his right and fires to the end zone and almost intercepted. It was intended for Smelly, and Mike Hull, the outside linebacker, got a hand on it. Boy, how big is this, Sledge? We're under a minute. Here's the throw again, but go back to the fumble.
Yeah.
Penn State would have been in Alabama's end. They may not have gotten points, but they would have pinned him with a punt. But now they're trying to prevent more scoring here. 3rd down and 3, Alabama. Last time on 3rd and short, they threw to Richardson. That's Smelly in motion. McCarron to the middle and inside the 5. It's 1st and goal to Kevin Norwood. And again, McCarron threw a strike and a 12-yard pickup.
Well, let's credit this offensive line for Alabama, too, because McCarron has got a lot of time to sit in the pocket and read down the field. He moves slightly to get a better window, and then again, right on the mark with that 3rd down pass.
And it's 1st and goal. McCarron's hit 5 different receivers on 3rd down. This 47-yard drive has got him set up maybe for another touchdown here. Trent Richardson on the carry. And he's in. Touchdown. Tie.
Well, you can't do it much better than that for Alabama. You get the turnover, you move the ball down the field, you score.
And you use clock.
You use clock, and you get the football first to start the 2nd half. So momentum is all on Alabama's side right now.
Richardson's 4th rushing touchdown of this young season.
Is under further review.
We're going to take a look at the last play. Richardson's touchdown run, as it was called on the field.
And take fans to see those chips now make over to
50-yard march in a little over 4 minutes.
Two really critical plays that have turned this game so far in the first half. The first one was the fake punt that Alabama went for that led to their first touchdown. So we take a look at this Richardson run again, and then the turnover there that gave Alabama the ball right here at the end of the first half.
Yeah, there's no doubt, I don't think, on that one either. You can see Richardson half his body, and both officials right on the goal line immediately signaled touchdown. But much like the fumble that led to this score, they're wisely looking upstairs to the replay officials. 35 seconds remaining in the half. Alabama an extra point away from a 2-touchdown lead here late in the second quarter.
Well, one thing Trent Richardson does know how to do is find the end zone. Last week he didn't have good numbers, 37 yards on 13 carries, but 3 touchdowns.
After review, the ruling on the field stands. Touchdown.
Very methodical that time.
Yeah.
Good running by Richardson. They were 3 for 3 on 3rd downs, but get this, 2 of the 3rd downs were 3rd and 3, and 1 of them was 3rd and 1.
And on the 3rd and 1, they threw it to Richardson. Yeah, mixing it up nicely. Jim McElwain in the offense, spotting the number 3 team in the country. A 2-touchdown lead before halftime is not what Penn State was hoping for after they had the opening 3 on their opening drive. So 17 unanswered points if the Shelley extra point goes through. And it does. 35 seconds remaining in the half. It's quieted the crowd, that's for sure. Tide rolling right now, 17-3 on Penn State. Now, a little bit earlier in this quarter, we asked you our trivia question for the day, and it was, how many Alabama head coaches have taken the field for the Tide since Joe Paterno became the Penn State head coach? We gave you time to think it over. There was 8. Bear Bryant, Ray Perkins, Bill Curry, Gene Stallings, Mike DeBose, Dennis Francione, Mike Shula, and now Nick Saban. The reason we asked that because Mike Price made a pit stop in Tuscaloosa there just for a little while, or it would have been 9. There's been 855 coaching changes in college football, 885, I beg your pardon, since Joe Paterno took over as head man. That's a lot of changes. And the score just changed again on that touchdown run by Trent Richardson. 17-3 now. And remember, unless they get a great kick return rather, by Penn State, I don't think the Nittany Lions are going to get too cute because they used all their timeouts way earlier in this half. Davon Smith from the 10-yard line. And he gets peppered at about the 21. Nice coverage by Alabama as we take a look at our Pacific Life game summary. On the fake punt, Smelly was given the first down by the nose of the football. That led to a touchdown as Michael Williams, the other tight end, scored. And then, speaking of tight ends, Serba with the fumble, and that just led to a 50-yard drive and Trent Richardson's 3-yard touchdown. 2 huge plays there that changed the complexion of this first half.
Yeah, that fake punt, ever since that play, A.J. McCarron just really woke up at quarterback.
They're going to let Bolden throw at least a middle screen, but he overshot everybody. He tried to sneak one out there to Silas Redd, and he really never found a spot to catch the ball.
Now, the problem for Penn State after that first drive is they started to not have any success on first down. They averaged right around 2 yards per play on first down for this entire first half. And again, against this defense, it's very difficult. Their quarterback's throwing the football 1 for 6 on first down. And that leads to 2nd and 10, and that leads to trouble against this defense.
And that leads to a counter play to Redd. Tried this one earlier, didn't get much. This time they got about 7, but the clock will wind down, and that might be it for the first half. So Penn State Their opening drive took them basically the length of the field. They had to settle for a field goal. They were in Alabama territory before Serba's fumble again, and that turned in to an Alabama touchdown late in the second quarter. And that's where we're going to be at halftime. Number 3 Alabama here on the road. Their fans mostly in the upper left end zone cheering their team as they lead by 2 touchdowns. And we check in with Holly.
Well, Coach Saban, let me take you back to just your second possession of the game. What factors did you consider before you put that fake punt on?
Well, we missed a hole on the punt. The guy ran an inside a double teamer. Would have had a good play, and I just felt like we weren't doing much offensively. We needed to change the momentum of the game, and even though we didn't run the play right, we lucked out and got a first down and led to a scoring drive.
Coach, after that first drive, Penn State was moving it down the field. They had a lot of time on the clock. What changed about your defense that really locked down?
Well, you know, we get a lot of stuff that's different than what we've seen and what we practiced, and I think, you know, you just got to get through the script with your players and settle them down and kind of go through the adjustments and the things that they need to do. And you know, once we did that, I think we played a little better.
And just quickly, Coach, what do you like about A.J. McCarron's composure so far?
He's done a good job in the game. He's taken what they give him, and that's what he has to continue to do.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you.
He's handled that first half very well. A.J. McCarron with a tough job on the road. He's done it very well. Alabama leads at halftime, 17-3. Cooper Tires halftime report is coming up in a moment. Valley at Beaver Stadium. Richardson, whoa! Going to flare it out. It's knocked up in the air by Jack Crawford.
Well, there's no question that this is a different Penn State team than Alabama faced last year.
Fires to the end zone. Touchdown, Alabama. And we welcome you back to ESPN on ABC's College Football, presented by Buffalo Wild Wings. Sunshine, over 108,000 fans at Beaver Stadium. But they saw a good opening drive by their Nittany Lions, and then the Alabama defense took over. And you can see the average gain on first down. Penn State has been shut down since that opening drive netted them the first 3 points of the ball game. 17 unanswered points by Alabama since, and they basically have doubled in total yardage what Penn State's been able to do. Brad Nessler and Todd Blackledge back. Holly Rose somewhere down in their Sunshine. You know, I know everybody says game of inches, a couple plays here and there. Well, the fake punt by that much, they got a first down, and then Serba fumbling by that much. Alabama got it back and took it in, and that's been the story of the ball game.
Well, you know, Nick Saban was disappointed last week because they threw 4 interceptions and they put the ball on the ground 5 times and only lost 1 fumble. Well, they protected the ball today, and that turnover right at the end of the first half was critical, because 10-3 at halftime for Penn State is a whole different deal than 17-3 against a team this good on defense.
This good on defense, and that's been the story so far. That opening drive, they have settled in, and they become the monster we know they are.
Yeah, I mean, they're just strong at every level. And again, after that first drive, Nick Saban told Holly they had to make some adjustments and settle down. And when you have so many veterans on your defense, it's easy to make those adjustments and not panic. And that's what they did. They just started to squeeze this Penn State offense after that first drive.
I know you talked to Joe Paterno at halftime.
Yeah, he was a little disappointed that his receivers didn't play as aggressive as he wants them to. He thought they were a little intimidated by this Alabama defense, and he just thinks they need to play better. I think he wants to see a little bit more of Matt McGloin in the second half. But, you know, he's one of those guys where he said, hey, you know, those turnovers, you talk about them all the time. That turnover right at the end of the half was a critical one for us.
They had 3 big ones last year in Tuscaloosa. And a couple of situations here where they've given Alabama the edge and the lead and the football to start the third quarter, as D. Milner and Trent Richardson go back deep. Dante Hightower and company, they've been sensational since that opening march by the Nittany Lions. So we'll see if Penn State at home can come back against the number 3 team in the land. Ferris kick down to the 1-yard line. And it's Milner across the 20. Trying to bounce it outside. He'll be level at about the 22.
You know, you mentioned the fake punt, and ever since the fake punt, A.J. McCarron just kind of settled in and locked in on offense. Now, credit that offensive line for giving him excellent protection. He was not sacked in the first half. 13 of 19, 110 yards, and he completed passes to 8 different guys. So that tells me he's seen the field, he's comfortable, he's relaxed, and he's confident throwing the football. And I don't think that Nick Saban and Jim McElwain could have expected anything better out of A.J. McCarron than they got in that first half.
There's his numbers, 110 yards, no mistakes. Here comes a blitz on first down. And McCarron's flushed out of the pocket, will throw on the run and completed it to Williams. And they got 5 out of that as we check in with Holly.
Well, guys, the first half was winding down over here on the Penn State sideline. Things were pretty subdued. It was like the air was starting to go out a little bit. But when they just came out onto the field and were in that tunnel, they started chanting, jumping around, and they had a lot of juice coming out. There's still a lot of energy left in these Nittany Lions. But some of the guys on the sidelines here were talking. They said they'd like to see one of their quarterbacks get in a rhythm like A.J. McCarron of Alabama has. They don't care who it is, just somebody who can get in a rhythm.
Here's McCarron on a handoff. Richardson hit. Only a yard gain. Nice job. Drew Astorino, the captain and the secondary leader back there, made the stop, and it brings up third down. So they could force a 3 and out here to open things up in the third quarter. They'd be in good shape.
Well, not only would they be in good shape, they would also get this crowd back in the game.
Right.
And they need to do that. They need to give this crowd something to get excited about.
There's where the student section's got to come into play as you look at them from one end zone to the other. They're right behind A.J. McCarron, who's got a 3rd and 4. Marquise Mays in motion, and McCarron from the shotgun has it batted in the air. And much like earlier by Jack Crawford, it's Eric Lattimore this time. So they do force the punt.
Well, sometimes when you have a running back blocking against a defensive end, it's a mismatch, and Trent Richardson tried to cut him at his legs and went right between his legs. And Lattimore did a nice job of maintaining his balance and getting a hand on the football.
Cody Mandel to punt, and Davon Smith and Justin Brown wait on the other end. So the defense did its job. Let's see if the special teams can come up with a play. Kick is high and short. Fair catch taken at the 38-yard line by Justin Brown. So only a 34-yard punt, no return. Sunday NFL Countdown returns though tomorrow, and it's expanded to 3 hours. Chris and TJ and Mike, Chris, Keyshawn and Bill, 3 hours of insight and analysis for you, getting ready for the first Sunday of the 11th season. And on ESPN2 tomorrow morning, Outside the Lines, followed by the Sports Reporter, Sports Center at 11, and Fantasy Football Now at 11:30. It's a big day on ESPN and ESPN2 tomorrow morning.
This is the guy that's got to get going for Penn State. Derek Moy, very quiet.
Here's Bolden on play action, and the pass is complete to Derek Moore. Right on cue from Todd Blackledge, and a pickup of 11. That's his first catch.
He's too good of a player and too talented of a guy to go through a first half and be invisible. And they've got to get some production out of him, and it's a good way to start the second half with a nice throw and catch.
He's a big target, 6'5", 210 pounds. Kind of got that Joe Juravicious look to him. And his catch gets him near the midfield stripe. And he'll come in motion on first down, just inside the 50. Silas Red had a little opening. It closed in a hurry, though, courtesy of Nico Johnson, another one of those great linebackers for Alabama. Alabama's got backup linebackers that could start most places.
Well, and they play so situational. Nico Johnson is in there in run situations. C.J. Mosley comes in his place in pass situations. I mean, they've got guys that can play multiple roles on this very complex defense that Nick Saban and Kirby Smart run.
And with Mosley in there, they're thinking pass on second down at 7. And they'll get one. Off play action is Bolden, and he fires high and almost intercepted, or was it?
I think it hit the ground.
Robert Lester, who had 8 pickoffs a year ago, saying he's got it, and the officials agreeing.
Well, the official that made the call did not have a great angle to see whether the ball hit the ground.
We get another look Here's number 37 on the overthrow intended for Moy.
There's a timeout.
Hard to tell right there. They'll definitely look at it during this timeout.
After review, replay shows that the ball hit the ground. Therefore,
no interception, as we told you. Here's a look the back judge had, Todd.
Yeah, Steve Patrick is the back judge, and his angle looked like a clean interception because Lester did a good job getting his arms under it. But from this angle, you can see the ball clearly bounced off of the turf into his chest. So, again, that's why we have the replay.
And it worked again.
Yep, sure did.
Robert Lester, who was an intercepting machine a year ago, thought he had another one there. Sometimes I think those guys actually think they have the interception because it happens so fast. You don't know if the ball hit the ground or your elbow.
Well, for the 7th time now, Penn State 3rd and 7 or more. They're 2 of 6 in that situation so far tonight.
4 receivers here for Bolden. Alabama thinking about bringing pressure off the corner, and they do. Look out. Bolden got rid of it. C.J. Mosley comes up with a football. This one might be an interception. Apparently it is. It was Robert Lester, beg your pardon, the guy that just about had the other one. This time he's got it, I guess.
Well, because of the pressure, Bolden was not able to step into this throw, and he threw it behind his intended receiver. And Lester, who had 8 interceptions a year ago and thought he had one a minute ago.
That's a better catch than the other one.
Comes up with this one. But see, there's the pressure that forced the underthrow.
previous play of interception is under further review.
I don't know. We might have the same thing happen. They'll take a look at it. We'll take about 10 more looks at it while you take a timeout with us with 12:09 remaining in the 3rd. Robert Lester's a really good safety, and he led the SEC in interceptions and number 2 in the country last year, but I think we're going to have to take another one away from him, Ledge.
After review, the ruling on the field is the ball did hit the ground. Therefore, it's an incomplete pass. Ball being replaced at the +47. It'll be 4th down.
Penn State's living right. Robert Lester's not, but you're going to see as Bolden is peppered as he got rid of the ball. Watch the bounce right there.
Well, and see, that's the situation that Penn State found themselves in last year down in Tuscaloosa. As you take another look at this
There's
play.
the ball. Out.
There's the ball coming out right there on the ground.
And then into the waiting hands for the 2nd time of number 37.
3rd and 7 plus.
Yep.
A creative pressure by the Alabama defense. They hit the quarterback. The ball's underthrown. And in this case, it was not an interception. One thing we know for sure, Robert Lester has a nose for the ball.
He really does.
You know?
And he's got really good hands.
Yeah.
And his acting skills are exceptional. Fair to punt. Marquise Mays camps under it and lets it go. Can Penn State get to it? Nope, not before it got to the end zone. So Alabama and A.J. McCarron will take over at the 20-yard line. Now the new season of Dancing with the Stars premieres Monday, September 19th, 8 o'clock, 7 Central on ABC, with our most surprising cast ever, including soccer goalie Hope Solo and L.A. Laker Ron Artest. I don't know if he'll be meta world peace by then or not, but I know that I've lost my wife now until sometime in the spring on Monday nights.
Big fan is Nancy.
Oh boy. You see it. 1st and 10, Alabama. 12 minutes to go in the 3rd. They lead by 2 touchdowns. McCarron, quick slant to Marquise Mays, and he got about 3 is all. They bottled him up pretty good. He had a long reception early in the ball game.
Well, you know, I think they've done a pretty good job on Mays and a pretty good job on Richardson. I just don't think Tom Bradley and the defensive staff expected McCarron to play with as much poise as he's played with so far.
The Andrew White, who doesn't have a catch, is a motion man. Now he brings Michael Williams out there with him to the top of your screen. Smelly comes down as a tight end on the left. They've got them all spread out. They go to Richardson, and he's dropped for no gain. Jordan Hill made the play. Holly?
Guys, after last week's game, Coach Nick Saban of Alabama was critical that they didn't have more explosive plays. You know, they're missing that home run threat in Julio Jones, but they were hoping that they could get Darius Hanks back. He will be reinstated next week. He had to miss 2 games because he played 4 games his freshman year and didn't take medical redshirt. So he'll be back. 32 catches a year ago, and they're hopeful that Duron Carter can clear out don't have him quite yet.
Yeah, they got a 3rd and 7. 3-man rush against McCarron. He's in trouble, and he's just got to throw it away.
Yeah, Penn State won on that play. They confused him. They only rushed 3, which means they dropped 8. And A.J. McCarron had nowhere to go with the football. Good call by Tom Bradley on that 3rd down play.
Second straight 3 and out by Scrappy's defensive group for Penn State. So it'll bring out Mandel to punt again.
And again, Penn State looks to get excellent field position.
Again, a mile in the air, but short. And the field position, as Todd said, will be good by Justin Brown at the 46-yard line. He hit it about 50 yards in the air, but only 31 yards downfield. Penn State on offense down 2 touchdowns when we come back.
ESPN's College Football on ABC. Brought to you by Pacific Life. For insurance, annuities, and investments, choose Pacific Life, the power to help you succeed. And Chevrolet. It's the Chevy season of doing. Get to your Chevy dealer today and get the truck that does it all.
Matt McGloin's back in at quarterback for Penn State, either by design or by the fact that Rob Bolden got whacked that last time he threw a pass by C.J. Mosley. At any rate, at the 46-yard line, this is about as good a field position as you're going to get if you're a Nittany Lion. And here is McGloin off play action, firing and almost intercepted again. This one would have been Daquan Menzies.
Not sure who he was throwing that one to. He had Beecham out in the flat, his back. Had the wide receiver running down the sideline. He kind of threw it right in between 2 of them. So I'm not sure who he was going for here.
Looks like maybe Joe Suey. He was the closest guy to it. And almost to Menzie. McGloin is 0 for 4. Now he's almost intercepted, 0 for 5. And now the natives are getting restless a little bit.
The longest play that Penn State has had from scrimmage today has been 15 yards, which suggests that Alabama does not think that these receivers can run by him and make a big play stretch in the field. So they are really clamped down on all the short routes. Now that slant route is good if the corner is off and you've got some space. It's not good when they're right up in the guy's grill, and that's how they're covering the receivers here in the ball game today.
And Joe can barely stand to look at a 3rd and 10. McGloin in the shotgun. Going to throw long. And Moy almost had it. Incomplete. Will Lowry was back there. Not a badly thrown ball, but 2 defenders back there.
Well, it was a well-thrown ball, and Moy beat the corner, but the safety, Lowry, is the guy who made the play. He came over to help the corner, Milner, who was beat, and knocked the ball loose. And that's what you want your free safety to do as a helper.
And the Nittany Lions wasted tremendous field position. Of course, if they pin Alabama down inside the 10 on this punt from Farrah, that'll be okay, I guess. But Marquise Mays waits on the other end near the 15-yard line. He's going to back Mays up, that's for sure. He's going to take it at the 5. Tough call, but maybe he'll make it pay. Marquise Mays on the return down the sideline. And he's all the way out near midfield.
Well, he got an incredible block from a true freshman, Vinny Sanseri, whose dad, Sal, is an assistant coach for Alabama and was a great middle linebacker for Pittsburgh back in the 80s. I mean, he left his feet and flew into his block. Watch number 3 on the right. Watch this guy right here. Size him up.
Ooh.
Leaves his feet, and that was the key block on the edge for Marquise Mays.
A 49-yard punt, but a 45-yard return.
I was like you. When he fielded it on the 5, you're like, that's a mistake.
Yep.
You know, but he got a couple big-time blocks.
And so now it's Alabama with great field position to start this drive with just under 10 minutes remaining in the 3rd quarter and a 2-touchdown lead. Trent Richardson off the right side, carrying Devin Still with him for about 6 or 7 yards. Alabama coaches telling us last night, watch number 3 on special teams.
Yep.
He had a couple of vicious hits on kick coverage last week in the opening win over Kent State, and his block just set up Mays on a great punt return.
You see that hometown Tuscaloosa. He finished up high school there. He was in Charlotte, North Carolina, because his dad was coaching with the Panthers before he went to Alabama.
Second down and 3. Brandon Gibson in motion. And they'll just work Trent Richardson now. And he's got a first down, and he's taking would-be tacklers with him again. Nick Suke finally brings him down, but he got 6 more, and we check in with Robert again.
All right, Brad, Trent Richardson has all the makings of an All-American. Here's an AT&T All-America Player of the Week update. Darren Thomas, 12 completions in the first half, 5 went for touchdowns as Oregon is putting it all over Nevada 48-7 right now. You can text VOTE to take part, 55862 for a chance to a trip to the national championship.
It's a nice touchdown to completion percentage. 5 scoring passes and a half. Here, A.J. McCarron's got Alabama back and Penn State's into the field. And he goes deep on the sideline and complete. Marquise Mays was the guy out there. Chaz Powell was covering.
Yeah. And for the first time in the whole game, McCarron got knocked down. I mean, Glenn Carson came on a blitz, hit him and knocked him down, forced the ball to be thrown out of bounds. Watch Carson, number 40, right up the middle. And this is the first time in the ball game that McCarron ended up on the ground. And one of the few incompletions that he's had as well.
Right, exactly. So second down at 10. Ball at the Penn State 37. McCarron steps back in the gun, directs traffic. He's got Trent Richardson right on his right hip. Wants to throw, flushed out of the pocket. Now he's going to run with it and gets what he can and gets down. Drew Astorino took a kind of a wicked hit from friendly fire at the end of that play, but he hops up. I guess he's okay. Got leg whipped by his own guy.
I think you're seeing a little bit more aggressive style right now by Tom Bradley and the Penn State defense, trying to create some pressure on A.J. McCarron. They weren't able to get him to the ground that time, but they were able to flush him from the pocket.
Big third down at 7. Richardson comes out as the extra receiver in an empty backfield for McCarron. 4-man rush. He throws over the middle, and it's Norwood. Does he have the first down? I think so. If he doesn't, it's 4th down and about 3 inches. There's Tom Bradley, the defensive coordinator.
Well, they run off with the 2 inside guys, and then Norwood on the short crossing route, and he's working on a linebacker. So that's a good read by the quarterback McCarron as he sees a wide receiver trying to get separation from a linebacker. That's a good place to go with the ball.
Not only working on a linebacker, but throwing it right over the umpire's ear. That's an extra guy. Yeah, they stretch out the chains, and he's got it by half the length of the football. 3rd catch for Norwood, all on 3rd down.
You know, Nick Saban and Jim McElwain both told us that they were disappointed with their young wide receivers last week. Thought they played with too much anxiety and they didn't play fast. I think they're playing better today. Obviously, Marquise Mays is a proven guy. Some of the other guys stepping up and playing better today. Norwood, one of those guys.
Yeah.
Holly mentioned the 2 guys that eventually will be joining that wide receiving group.
McCarron, and they blow this play dead. Brad Smelly might have come out of his stance at tight end.
Prior to the snap, false start, 17 offense, 5-yard penalty, first down.
That is a first penalty against Alabama today. Monday Night Football returns in a couple of days. 2 games between division rivals. First at 7, Tom Brady and the Patriots take on the Dolphins. Then at 10:15, Darren McFadden leads the Raiders against Kyle Orton and the Broncos. Monday Night Football just 2 nights away on ESPN. We just signed a new deal, ESPN with the NFL, for Monday Night Football through the 2021 season. Trent Dilfer and I will be out in Denver for the 2nd game coming up on Monday nights. After Mike and Jaws, John and Susie have the first game for you. Stanley makes the stop after a short game. It's going to bring up 2nd down and about 13.
We're talking about these wide receivers for Alabama. You got to keep in mind, too, Julio Jones, who was a first-round pick of the Atlanta Falcons, had 78 catches last year.
Right.
The next guy on that list was Marquise Mays with 38. So that's 40 more catches than the second-place guy last year. So a lot of new faces, not only a new quarterback, but new wideouts, too.
In the shotgun, second down at 14. McCarron with a pocket to work and a deep ball to Williams. Nice throw and catch inside the 10. 24-yard pass play. And Williams caught a touchdown pass earlier in the game.
Well, they had a tight end working against the linebacker, Gerald Hodges, number 6. And Hodges was in okay position, but he jumped too early. He jumped too soon, and by doing that, he lost contact with the receiver. And Williams went up and high-pointed the ball, caught it at the top of his jump. And a nice completion for McCarron.
And a 1st and goal for the Tide. With a 2-touchdown lead, they can start to put this thing a little bit away. We're going to have a whole 4th quarter and 5 minutes or so to play. But they're in great shape. Just outside the Penn State 7. Here's a stretch play to Trent Richardson to the corner. Did he get there? Linesman's right there, and he says no at about the 1-yard line. But he got 6 more. Trent Richardson slowly putting together a pretty impressive day again.
Look how he secures the football. You know, Mark Ingram rarely ever fumbled when he was the primary ball carrier.
Yep.
Trent Richardson, you see him carry that ball high and tight.
Second down, a goal at the 1. Trent Richardson's got 4 touchdowns here early in the season, and he might have 5. That's close. Just short of the goal line. He says he's in. They say no.
Well, Gerald Hodges, who was beaten on the pass play, did a nice job of getting in there, getting underneath the legs of Richardson, and stopping him short of the goal line.
McCarron throws and incomplete. Chris Underwood, the tight end, got his left hand on it. Boy, that's a big difference. Now it's 4th down and about 2 feet. 4th and goal.
Well, they tried to go with this quick count. They lined up and tried to run the play quickly, hoping they'd catch the Penn State defense out of position. And Underwood was open, just not able to come down with the catch.
That's a big difference, my friend. A touchdown and now holding.
I'm not so sure I wouldn't have thrown that one to number 3.
Yeah, I know. It looked like he was open in the flat. 18-yard field goal attempt by Jeremy Shelley. And it is right through the middle. So Penn State wins that battle a little bit as they hold the Tide to just 3 more with 4:50 remaining here in the 3rd quarter. 20-3, Alabama out in front. Well, we got a moment here before the kick. Let's take a look at our taste of the town this week with Todd. Brought to you by Expedia. What do you got, partner?
When I was a student at Penn State and family and friends used to come and visit, it was customary on the morning they were leaving to head downtown and have breakfast at the Waffle Shop. Now, this place has been a landmark for over 30 years. The last 10 years, it's been owned by Pittsburgh native Greg Kite, who now is living the dream, grooming his 2 sons in the business, Greg and Zach.
You're a breakfast guy.
Yeah, I am.
Well, wait a minute.
Of course, I guess you're all meal.
You're a lunch, dinner.
I knew you were going there. Breakfast is my favorite. Let's put it that way.
Well, a 50-yard drive. And Nick Saban's got his offense over there talking to them. Trent Richardson thought he had a 1-yard touchdown run, which would have been his 2nd on the ground today, but they settled for the field goal of Shelley of 18 yards. 11 plays, 50 yards, a little over 5 minutes. And now a 20-3 lead, and this one's starting to take on the look of last year when they won 24-3 in Tuscaloosa. Penn State wasted an opportunity with field position the last time they had the ball. Foster to kick. Adrian Amos and Davon Smith, they're back deep. This will be Amos at the 5. And he can't find anywhere to hide, and he didn't even get it out to the 20-yard line. Well, we're going to find out what Mr. Blackledge had for breakfast.
Now, I'm an omelet guy, and one of the best ones here is the Greek omelet, made with 3 eggs, fresh spinach, chopped tomatoes, and lots of feta cheese. Add a side of thick sliced bacon and a tradition here, fresh cut home fries. I like mine well done, just like old times.
Now that's a serious plate, especially with the home fries.
The home fries are tremendous.
Did you eat all that?
Every bit of it. And fresh squeezed orange juice, and it was outstanding.
Oh, boy. And right on the ground. And Bolden back in at quarterback. So the quarterback carousel continues for Penn State.
Yeah.
Bolden was so good in the first drive, and then everything's just been real iffy between either one of them, he or McGloin, since then.
Well, again, this is quite possibly the best defense in college football.
Yeah.
You know, they thought the defense they had in 2009 when they won the national championship may have been the best that they'd had at Alabama. They think this one could be better. 10 starters returned from last year.
Here's Bolden off play action. Wants a deep ball on the sideline. Oh, one-handed catch by Moy. And there he went and used that 6'5" frame in front of DeQuan Minzy. And a pickup of 27. Longest play of the day for Penn State.
See, sometimes you're not going to be wide open, and you got to go up and make a play. And that's what Derek Moy did. And that's what I think Joe Paterno at halftime was kind of frustrated about. He said, we got some talented guys. They're not playing aggressive enough. And that was an aggressive play by a talented guy, Derek Moy.
That baby might make top 10 plays of the day as far as catches anyway. And a first down at the 47 now. Penn State, pump fake by Bolden. He's going to go deep again on the sideline. And this one,
he underthrew that.
Yeah.
I don't know why he threw that one so short. The pump fake isolated his guy one-on-one, and then he just kind of short-armed this for Moy again. See, the pump fake is going to freeze the safety, and that's going to leave single coverage on the backside, but then he underthrows this ball. If he throws it out in front of Moy, he catches it again.
not only didn't get the completion, he got his wide receiver whacked at the end of the play.
See, sometimes you purposely underthrow that fade if the coverage is too good. That time he had his man beat. That's got to be thrown down the field.
Second down and 10 at the 47. Now draw play. Silas Red hasn't been able to get anything going since early in the ball game. Let's check in with Robert Flores. Robert.
Hey, Brad, South Carolina's trying to beat Georgia in consecutive seasons for the first time since 2000-2001. This might help. Fake punt. Melvin Ingram, 68 yards. And the Gamecocks take the lead 14-13 right before halftime. Look at Virginia Tech, ranked number 11, tied with East Carolina late in the third. Brad.
Looks like Georgia at least playing a little better than we saw them play at the Georgia Dome last week against Boise State. Third down, 10 here for Penn State. Bolden loads it, fires, and it's complete. Justin Brown has got a first down.
Good protection by the Penn State offensive line. Alabama chose to only rush 4. And Justin Brown, who is a big receiver in his own right at 6'3", 215 pounds, makes the nice catch by the sideline.
Bolden had to tuck that one in there in front of Menzie, who had decent coverage, kind of flailed with his left hand a little bit too late. And now Penn State's got something working offensively at the Alabama 41-yard line. Brandon Beecham is checked back in at tailback. He's seen limited duty so far today. They fake it to him. And Bolden loads and goes long. And this one's intercepted by Mark Barron. Again underthrown, and this time the All-American safety and two-time captain was waiting on it.
Well, they tried to fool Alabama with a double move. They pump fake. Derek Moy did a stop and go. And not only did he not fool the corner, Menzie, he didn't fool the safety either. Watch the pump fake and the stop and go at the top. It doesn't fool anybody, and that's a play that Rob Bolden can't throw. He's got to drop that down to the underneath route. Brandon Beecham was open as an outlet receiver, and he's got to throw it there instead of taking a chance against two excellent defenders.
Mark Barron, one of the best in the country, has his 11th career interception. Gives it back to his offense at the 9-yard line. A little over 2 minutes to go, third quarter. Alabama in command, 20-3. It's going to be Eddie Lacy this time. He's bouncing off Lyons for about 8 yards. So Richardson, who's got over 75 yards on the ground, giving way to Lacy in this particular set. Trent Richardson with a touchdown today and almost a second one. He's cheering on his partner, Eddie Lacy, the sophomore. Louisiana native, 6-footer, 220 pounds. He got almost 9 on that last carry. In fact, we'll call it 2nd down and 1. Marquise Mays in motion. Lacy again. Big opening for Lacy. Into the secondary before they can bring him down out at the 28-yard line.
Now, Brad, I want to go back and look at this interception by Bolden just to make a point. Watch this guy beat him. Now, after the fake, all right, you're going to take a shot at a home run. You need a big play, but it's not there. So now you got to unload, and you got to look for this guy to uncover as an outlet receiver and give him the football and just take a 4 or 5 yard gain. You know, I mean, everybody wants to make the big play, but it's not always there against a defense like this.
A first down after the big run by Lacy. McCarron comes up ready to throw on first down. Had it tipped at the line. Jack Crawford. That's his second time today. Big number 81 has gotten a paw on one of the passes of A.J. McCarron.
Hey, well, that's pretty good to get up and get those because this is a tall quarterback.
Yeah.
You know, A.J., his nickname is Big Bird. You know, he's 6'4", 205 pounds. I mean, he's a tall guy, and they've knocked a couple of his passes down.
Just over a minute remaining in the third quarter. 2nd down and 10 from the 29 for Alabama. Lacy hit at the line of scrimmage, eked out a yard to the 30, and that's it. That'll bring up 3rd down and long here in the final minute of the third quarter. Almost lost a tire. Gets it back on 3rd down and 9. Well, if Penn State's going to make a play here by their defense and try to give their offense yet another chance, this would be a good spot. Alabama and company are thinking the same thing. They flush Lacy out of that backfield, so it's all McCarron on 3rd and 9. Just a 3-man rush. They throw the slip screen to Marquise Mays, and Penn State's waiting on it. And they will force a kick, but that'll have to wait till the fourth quarter. 3 quarters come to a close at Beaver Stadium. Alabama 30, Penn State 3. This presentation of ESPN on ABC's College Football, presented by Buffalo Wild Wings, will continue after this message and a word from our ABC stations. The fourth quarter, as we take a look at our Pacific Live game summary. Alabama with a 20-3 lead. A.J. McCarron has been very efficient today on the road in a hostile environment. 153 yards and a touchdown. Trent Richardson 75 yards and a score. Rob Bolden 8 of 21. That's not good enough, but Penn State did force a punt here to start the fourth quarter. With Todd Blackledge and Holly Rowe, I'm Brad Nessler. Nice to have you along with us on a beautiful day in Happy Valley. Not going to be so happy if they don't find a comeback in the next 15 minutes. Justin Brown's going to take this one at the 28-yard line. Dancing his way for a nifty little return out to the 36. As we're just about set to give Penn State the football back for Joe Paterno and company. Joe in his 62nd year on the staff here, his 46th as head coach. When he took over, Lyndon Johnson was a president. Gas cost 32 cents a gallon. Average home price $38.40. That's like my mortgage. First Star Trek episode aired. And The Sound of Music, one of my least favorite movies of all time, won the Oscar for Best Picture.
Least favorite?
Just can't stand that show. I'm sorry. I don't like The Wizard of Oz either, so just bear with me. On the ground, almost a face mask there, and we might have a call or a horse collar as flags fly into the 41-yard line. I just hurt your feelings with that Wizard of Oz shot, didn't I?
You did. I love the Wizard of Oz.
Personal foul, face mask, number 30 of the defense. 15-yard penalty from the end of the run, automatic first down.
Well, you take a look as Red with Dante Hightower going high and got his hand in the mask right there.
Penn State, they'll take it because they haven't had many plays over 15 yards today.
Now I'm worried that we're either going to have an ABC Sunday night movie of Wizard of Oz or Sound of Music. The boss is here today too. Here's a give up the middle. Pickup of about 3 for Silas Red. Let's check in with Holly.
Well, guys, I can actually do you one better on that Joe Paterno streak. He's been there pretty long. But how about this gentleman, Dick Coffey, at his 756th consecutive Alabama game. He hasn't missed a game since 1946. You know, they have a saying at Alabama, we don't just play football, we live it. Well, he's been living it for over half a century.
That is incredible. Good job, Dick Coffey. Watching his Tide lead by 17, but Penn State back in Alabama's end of the field, courtesy of that penalty. McGloin's going to flare it out to Red, but a great play out in the flat. C.J. Mosley hit him low and knocked him down. Time is of the essence right now. 13.5 to go. Penn State trailing. They need some scores in kind of a hurry here. Holden on the sideline. McGloin at the controls. There's the third down story on the day. Alabama looks like they're loading up to come after McGloin. They do have a delayed blitz. He went across the middle, though, and he got it. And now the ball is out. Are they going to say incomplete? No. Justin Brown had his hands on it.
Well, it was a little bit behind, I think. And as Justin Brown was trying to pull the ball from his back hip into a secure position and run at the same time, he dropped it.
Yeah. You go for it here, Todd, don't you?
Yeah, I think he has.
I mean, time, as I said, is kind of running out on you. 4th and 6. But at least you're there into the field. Well, maybe not. Let's see what they're going to bring in.
Yeah, the only thing about this is that your defense has held them a little bit.
Yeah, they are going to punt. I think they thought about it, though.
Yeah.
So Farrell will punt. And Marquise Mays stands back at the 10-yard line. And a penalty marker down back where Marquise Mays was standing.
That's a delay of game.
Delay of game, offense, 5-yard penalty, still 4th down.
Let's give Farrah a little more room to work if he's going to tuck one inside the 10. Neither punter has really been able to do that today. I think a little bit of inexperience at the kicking positions and the punting positions. Hangs this punt up. Bounces at the 5, but again, coverage team can't get down there. Take a wicked bounce. 45-yard punt. It's a touchback, though. And it'll be a 20-yard line for Alabama. Joe Pa looking on. Only 13 minutes to go. The Tide and their fans like what they see. Tonight, the Wolverines play under the lights for the first time ever at the Big House as they take on the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame. College football presented by Hampton Hotels on ESPN and ESPN3 tonight, 8 o'clock Eastern time. And that should be interesting. Our colleague Desmond Howard, it's his night. It's 20th anniversary of his great catch that set up his Heisman Trophy. Des had his family there, his kids on the set of game day today.
College Football Hall of Famer.
Here's Trent Richardson. And Richardson's going to fight his way for almost 8 yards, and they still have not taken him down. The crimson and white of Alabama and the navy and white of Penn State. If you want one of those fancy uniforms that look like Power Rangers, ain't happening here.
I love these uniforms. And, you know, a lot of people like changing uniforms, and Penn State changed their uniforms this year.
How much?
Well, they used to have the white trim, and then they went back to just a straight blue. So they changed, you know.
Was that for the better?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's classy looking. I love it.
The white border got too big. Was that what they said?
It was a little too fancy.
Yeah. Here's McCarron throwing out in the flat to Smelly. And Smelly brought down at the 40-yard line with a first down. Pick up a 10. Joe Paterno. He's been here for all those navy and whites. The white socks and the black shoes. As only Joe can wear them. We haven't had a chance to see his white socks and his rolled up pant legs.
See, he always used to tell us, you know, if everybody had plain uniforms, we'd have stars and stripes and all kind of stuff. I don't know if he really meant that or not.
Oh, boy.
All I know is you turn a TV on and see these two uniforms.
You know who you're playing.
That's exactly right.
We don't have to have the thing on the bottom that says Alabama Penn State. Here's an end around for Marquise Mays, and nice job by Michael Mouty first to smell that one out and bring him down.
See, Alabama is getting a little bit conservative here because they know, I mean, they've got a 17-point lead, very similar to last year. When they get ahead of you, they're going to try to run the football and eat clock and trust that their defense is not going to give up 3 scores.
And the way their defense is played, they may not give up even another field goal before this one's over. So we're down here 11 minutes. Alabama 20-3. Trent Richardson gets the call. And again, another tough run as Trent Richardson approaching the century mark. Picked up 5 more there.
Many people expecting Alabama to make a run at the SEC championship this year and a national championship. I think Nick Saban was happy that they had this game. You know, ever since he's been there, they've played one non-conference game early against a quality opponent. Played Virginia Tech, they've played Clemson, and they play Michigan next year, Virginia Tech 2 years from now. He likes this kind of an atmosphere to get ready for that SEC schedule.
Most of those crimson shirts you just saw are in the upper deck of the left end zone, but Alabama travels well. Here's another batted pass. Eric Lattimore got his hand on a second one today, much like Jack Crawford did on the other side.
You know, you mentioned the traveling of the Alabama fans. Here's what I don't get. Supposedly they only got 5,000 tickets for this game. But if you look around here, I think there's more than 5,000 red shirts.
I agree.
Some creative
finance
ways of finding tickets sprinkled in among all the white shirts. But they are a great fan base. And these two programs, fans and everything, have such great respect for one another. And it goes back to Bear and Joe.
Yep. Mandel, the punt. And it's going to bounce in front of the return man. This time they can advance it because there was no fair catch, and Justin Brown will take it out across the 35 to the 36. A little over 10 minutes remaining. The Houndstooth Caps out in the sunshine in Happy Valley right now with a 20-3 lead.
ESPN's College Football on ABC. Brought to you by Buffalo Wild Wings. Wings, beer, sports. And Hyundai. If it's fuel efficient, affordable, stylish, and safe, it's probably a Hyundai.
Alabama 20-3 on the road in front of the largest crowd to ever see Alabama play a football game. 107,846 here today. You were talking about the respect that these two teams have and their fans. And Joe Paterno was saying last night, let's be as classy here at home as the fans in Tuscaloosa were to us at Bryant-Denny Stadium a year ago in a 24-3 Alabama win. Here's Matt McGloin going, batted down again, and Jesse Williams that time. A lot's been said about the Penn State fans over the years that they get a little bit too into it, and that Alabama was so good to Joe Paterno and company a year ago. I was coming in here on the plane yesterday, and I saw a young lady that went to Penn State, has lived here her whole life. We had 2 Alabama fans sitting in front of us, and she wrote down all the restaurants and places of interest that they should go, handed it to them, and said, I live very close to where you're staying. My husband and I would be happy to show you around if you need help. And I thought, now there's a Penn State fan that did the best she could for the Alabama folks that are visiting from Tuscaloosa. McGloin down the sideline, incomplete, a little too far in front of Moy. Now, wait a minute. Penalty at the very end of the play. They got tangled up a little bit back there, Mark Barron and company. And the flag came out late on that sideline route.
Pass interference on the defense, number 21. It's a 15-yard penalty to the previous spot. Automatic first down.
It's a big play, too, on a penalty. And Alabama hasn't had many penalties today, that's for sure. That's only the 3rd, but it gives Penn State a first down.
Well, Dre Kirkpatrick, again, he's a big corner at 6'3", and he got a last push in there as the ball was in the air. It wasn't a lot, but the fact that the ball was in the air when he made contact is what drew the flag.
Yeah, the side judge was backpedaling. He was trying to get that flag out of his pocket. That's why it appeared to come in a little bit late. So first down for the Nittany Lions, again in Alabama territory at the 49-yard line. The time is running out on him. 10 minutes to play. McGloin pumps one way. in the pocket, scrambles around. Now he's just got to get rid of it. And while he does that, we go to Robert Flores. Robert.
Brad, yellow flags there, checkered flags in Richmond. Tonight, 7 Eastern, right here on ABC. Jeff Gordon coming off a win Tuesday in Atlanta, leading the field as the Sprint Cup Series is in Richmond. Chase playoffs right around the corner in NASCAR. Brad.
Jeff Gordon won Tuesday at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Had a race off with Jimmy Johnson. Those guys were sliding around about the last 5 laps. I watched the end of that race. I don't even know how they kept their cars on the track, but they had a beautiful finish after a rainy weekend in Atlanta. We'll hope they had good weather in Richmond tonight when we're done. And we'll be done in just under 10 minutes on the clock, that is. Here's a sprint draw to Beecham, and he goes for 8 or 9.
You know, we just put that graphic up the last 2 years. Alabama's outscored Penn State 41-6, but we can go back even further. Counting today's game, the last 6 times that Penn State has played Alabama, they've scored 47 points. Penn State has. And that equates to about 7.8 points per game. So scoring against Alabama's defense for Penn State has been difficult the last several times they've played.
If there's any hope, Todd, it's right here.
Yep.
You got to convert. You got to get a touchdown at the end of this drive. Down 17. And straight ahead, Beecham's got it. They faked the end around after they went straight ahead. And he has the first down at about the 38-yard line. So the fans are trying to stay in it. Still cheering on their Nittany Lions. They come off a 2010 campaign last year of 7-6 and just 500 in the Big Ten.
Well, you've got under 9 minutes to play now, and you've got to score 3 times. Yep. So there has to be a little more sense of urgency out of the Penn State sideline, huddle, everything, because you need 3 scores against a team that we've already said doesn't give up points too easily.
Nittany Lions' deepest penetration has been the Alabama 26, so if they get a first down here, they'll be right around the closest they've been to the goal line. Here is an end around. Davon Smith, he's got McGloin out as a blocker, and he lost the ball, and Barron, does he have it? Alabama looked to get their hands on it first, and they have it. The guy that ran over Joe Paterno and forced him to coach from the booth just coughed up the football and gave it back to the opposition.
Well, it's Dre Kirkpatrick again. For the second time, he gets his helmet on the football and creates the fumble, and Barron comes up with the loose football. But Dre Kirkpatrick, 2 times today, puts the headgear right on the football and knocks it loose.
And Joe disappointed, obviously, in how things are going right now.
Well, they had 3 turnovers in Tuscaloosa last year and lost 24-3.
Now they have another one inside the 35 that probably took away any hope they had of a comeback. 8.5 to go in the 4th quarter, 20-3. Alabama in command. Kirkpatrick, another big play defensively, has given Alabama the ball back at its own 35-yard line. And the Eddie Lacy shedding the first tackle and the second and almost the third and almost a 10-yard gain. Todd, we talked about it coming in. 3 turnovers last year in Tuscaloosa by Penn State, 3 this season, 2 in Alabama territory, and the 3rd one was right on the 50-yard line.
Yeah, and in any momentum that they had, I mean, you know, it's tough sledding against this defense, period. Getting in the end zone, moving the ball, only 170 yards of offense, but they did at least have the ball in Alabama territory a couple times, and not much to show for it.
This is just going to be a dose of Lacy and Lacy and more Lacy, I would expect. 2nd down in the yard. Run blitz. Lacy straight up the middle. He's got the first down. And he's got about 3 after that.
Well, you know, the situation here, I think it's interesting. Coming into the game, so much talk about 4 quarterbacks. Both teams playing 2 quarterbacks. Neither team really committing to one or the other. I think Alabama's quarterback situation, even though as Holly reported, it's still going to be very competitive between A.J. McCarron and Phillip Sims, but I think that situation has gotten a little clearer, that A.J. McCarron is capable of leading this team right now. On the other side, I think Penn State's quarterback situation has gotten even muddier. I don't know that it's gotten any better or any clearer by today's performance.
Bolden had a scoring drive, though it was a field goal the first time he had it. The second time he did an okay job, and then they went to McGloin in the third series and the fourth series, and I don't think number one ever got his rhythm back after that. Penn State, when they play top-ranked teams, you mentioned you got to go back to '99, the last time they beat somebody in the top 10, but top 10 teams since 2000. Lost the last 8 against top 5 teams and 3-11. They're going to be dropping to 1-1 on the season. They had high hopes coming into this one, and the first 7.5 minutes of the first quarter, they had reason to think that way, and so did their fans. And Lacey now with a big opening up the middle again, broke a tackle. Lacey inside the 20, rumbles his way down inside the 15. He's a load, and the Penn State defense being a little bit tired too, and he goes for 29 yards.
Well, one of the things everybody talks about with Eddie Lacey is his spin move. I mean, it's something that he really relies on. Watch after the contact, the spin right there. But he keeps moving forward. He's strong, but he's amazingly quick with his feet for a guy that big. At 6 foot, 220 pounds.
Call him the circle button because of that spin move. He might have gotten spun around because somebody hit him in the helmet, but either way, great run and 78 yards on 9 carries. And now Alabama inside the Penn State 15 at the 13-yard line, first down. Keeping it on the ground. Trent Richardson, and he's in. Touchdown, Alabama. Great to have 2 backs that good, interchangeable, and Trent Richardson, his second touchdown on the ground today, and his 5th of the year.
Well, Alabama did what you expect them to do, but I have to say that was the first drive today where it looked like the Penn State defense had their will broke. You know, they just didn't look like they did. After that last possession ended in a turnover, the Penn State defense was not ready to play that drive.
The extra point is up and good. And the lead goes to 27-3. So it's even more impressive score than it was a year ago in Tuscaloosa. First it was a big portion of Eddie Lacey, including this 29-yard run. That got him down to the 13-yard line, and then give Lacey a breather. Give it to the All-American candidate Trent Richardson. 13 yards and a touchdown. Trent Richardson over 100 yards now with his second touchdown. It's 27-3, 6:14 remaining in the ball game. Nick Saban told us yesterday, turnover margin and explosive play is the difference in most games.
Yeah, it really is, and that comes from his NFL background. Those are the 2 statistical categories that mean the most and explain most games. And as you look at today's game, clearly Alabama has the upper hand. The turnovers, the explosive plays, and they've been solid. You know, solid play from the quarterback. Their defense settled down after the first possession and made it very difficult for Penn State. They haven't beaten themselves. They were solid in the special teams. Everything you want to do when you go on the road in a big game to have a chance to win, Alabama's done.
They straightened out all the things that were problems a week ago. They put it on the ground, fumbling. Though they only lost 1, they did have 4 interceptions. And today, you saw that turnover difference as they kept it clean. At the 12-yard line is Adrian Amos. And out near the 30. Let's take a look at our Pacific Life game summary. Normally a play here and there can turn a game around. Brad Smelly's fake punt, even though Coach Saban said we didn't run it right, they got it by inches, and that led to Michael Williams' touchdown from A.J. McCarron. And Trent Richardson starting to warm up after Lacey ripped off some big runs. He just went 13 yards to go over 100 for the day with 2 touchdowns on the ground, 5 for the season. And McGloin still, rather Bolden now back in at quarterback. And he goes down the middle and got it complete to Allen Robinson, the freshman. That's his first catch. So you have to wonder now as Penn State gets ready for their next ball game if it's going to be Rob Bolden. Is it going to be Matt McGloin? Is it going to be both of them again? Those questions will be asked a million times here in Happy Valley by the fans. They were a little restless, mostly with Matt McGloin today, I think, just judging by the sound around the stadium. Bolden, and that one hits somebody en route to his intended receiver as we check in with Robert Flores. Robert.
Brad, since 2007, Virginia Tech is 4-5 in the first couple of weeks of the season, tied with East Carolina until Josh Oglesby trucks his way into the end zone. Hokies on top late, 17-10 against East Carolina. Brett.
East Carolina always seems to give Virginia Tech a good ball game when they get together. Here 27-3 in the final 5:44.
You know, you talk about the two quarterbacks at Penn State and where they go from here. I was involved in a two quarterback situation here my sophomore year. Myself and Jeff Hosteller, we were in the same recruiting class. Jeff had a couple older brothers that played at Penn State, and very similar to the start of this season. Coach Paterno didn't make up his mind until the Friday before the first game. He talked to both of us individually, said he was going to start Jeff Hosteller, but we would both play, and it kind of went that way for 3 games. And then in the 4th game, he named me the starter for a game at Missouri, and I started every game since then.
Jeff transferred.
And Jeff went to West Virginia and had a great career. And I think that it's better off to have one guy that you go with. I just don't know that either one of these guys has made it clear.
Yep. Come on, Rob. Here's Bolden, who's the better of the 2 runners, doing what he does better than McGloin, and he got a first down. The other thing, a lot of people wonder if there's any tension between McGloin and Bolden, and the coaches will tell you there's not. But when you're in a situation like that, you always try to one-up the other guy in practice. And during the offseason, McGloin was back in his hometown in Scranton, Pennsylvania. Somebody asked him, there was a rumor that Rob Bolden might consider transferring. And he said, well, that would be a big loss because he's a great backup to me. Yeah. Well, that's the kind of guy McGloin is, and that's not the kind of thing that makes for great teammates. But when you're competing, you're competing.
Well, and make no mistake about it. I mean, you can say that they get along great, and certainly that's the most important thing, that those 2 guys handle it. But let's not kid each other. Guys in the locker room have their favorites. The locker room is divided who they maybe think should be the guy. And they may not vocalize it or say it, but that happens.
2nd down and 6. Here is Bolden firing, completes inside the 30. They're down close to their deepest penetration into Alabama territory. Well, the Boldens and the McGloins sit together, so families get along, I guess.
So it's all that, and that's wonderful. It really is, because, again, how those 2 guys handle the situation is the most critical thing in this whole operation.
Penn State hurrying up, but time is running out. This throw intended for Moy is broken up. Dante Hightower got back there.
I think you got to almost run some slant and goes, because they've tried to throw slants all game and have not hit one. No. Because Alabama, their corners are clued into it. Menzie and Kirkpatrick and Milner. So I think you got to do something off of that. You fake the slant and then take it up the field.
Moy is the big receiver, and he'll go out to the top of your screen. On 2nd down and 10 at the 28. Bolden steps up in the pocket. He's going to take off with it again. Oh, man, and a head-on shot, and off came the helmet. C.J. Mosley. Oh. And he pops right back up. Dad says, that's cool. That didn't feel that good, I'm sure, though. And he had a concussion problem one time last year. Here's real time and real sound. I got to give him credit for popping up as quickly as he did. And the give and another collision, but it's going to be a first down run for Silas Red.
Right now, Alabama, I mean, they obviously don't want to give up any more points, and so they're not going to play prevent or anything like that. But they're more than happy to let Penn State keep running the football and eating up all the clock, and not leaving themselves any time if they would get the ball back.
You saw Kirby Smart, the highly respected defensive coordinator, right there near Nick Saban, and right now he'd like to pitch the touchdown shutout. They gave up the field goal on the opening drive of the ball game and nothing since. And we're under 3.5 minutes. He's one of the best in the business at what he does. Bolden, this one almost picked off by Barron. No,
can't throw the slant against these guys today.
Kirkpatrick was just hanging there, and then the All-American safety, who's already got an interception, got his hands on it. This defense is going to cause a lot of teams to have fits this year, not just Penn State. This is just adding to the total yardage a little bit for Penn State, but it really doesn't matter right now.
The only thing I'll say about this defense, I don't know how strong they are up front, just with their normal front 3 or 4 in terms of rushing the passer with just 3 or 4.
This one in and out of the hands of Brandon Beecham. As we take a look at our All-State good hands play of the day. I just mentioned the All-American safety and captain of the defense from Mobile, Alabama, Mark Barron, and watch him go up for his 11th career interception right there. That took away another threat by Penn State today inside their own 10-yard line. And for all practical purposes, that was about the ball game.
Offense 67, 10-yard penalty, still second down.
Left tackle, Quinn Barham. Barron didn't play in the bowl game we did last year because of that torn pectoral muscle, but he is back to full strength, and he is some kind of player. Yeah. 6'2", 218-pounder. He will bring the wood to you, and he can cover just as well as he can hit.
And again, his experience, his knowledge of the defense, his ability to be a quarterback back there, get guys lined up.
Bolden steps up, going to run with it again, or try to, but he only gets to the line of scrimmage. Ed Stinson was there waiting for him.
Well, you think about Alabama, where they go from here. And a game against North Texas after this at home, and then they get into their SEC schedule. Arkansas, their first SEC game in Tuscaloosa. Their schedule sets up pretty well in terms of their toughest games at home at Bryant-Denny Stadium.
3rd down at 20 now. Penn State running out of time and going to the corner. Sean Kersey with a great catch at the 1-yard line. So they're down in scoring territory. 26-yard toss.
Well, you know, a couple times Rob Bolden has underthrown the deep ball, and it got intercepted once. This is a perfect throw over the outside shoulder. You only need 1 foot inbound. The right foot was inbounds when he made the catch.
Shawnee Kersey with one of the better catches of the day. So now it's at the 1-yard line, and Penn State can make it look a little better on the scoreboard if they can score a touchdown, and we obviously would have an onside kick coming up. Bolden looking to the sideline.
I don't know what's going on here. Somebody's got to call timeout.
Timeout, Penn State. The first timeout of the half. It'll be a 30-second timeout.
Mike McQuarrie is trying to give the signals and shaking his head because they had to use a timeout. So down to 2, but the ball is just inside the 2. That's the good news for Penn State. We mentioned Alabama's schedule. Todd said it sets up pretty nicely for them. They were number 2 in the country last week, number 3 now because LSU moved ahead of them, but they're going to have a 2-0 start. As Todd said, North Texas, ESPN 3, Arkansas, Florida, and on through the lists.
In Gainesville, that'll be an interesting game. Florida seems to be playing pretty well so far under new coach Will Muschamp. New offensive system with Charlie Weiss.
Well, guys, these players down here on the bench for Alabama are thinking ahead just like you guys are. I heard some of the offensive linemen and Barrett Jones go, guys, we got to keep growing every week. This was a good start, but we've got 12 more, and we got to get better every week. Now, I'm no math genius, but I think that means they're counting on 14 games, which means they're counting on a national championship.
Yeah, they're counting on Atlanta, and then they're counting on another one after that. Barrett Jones and that offensive line did a great job today. 13th play of the drive here for Penn State at the 1-yard line. Bolden lofts it to the corner and overshot Allen Robinson.
You know, if you go back to 2010 and the way that regular season ended for Alabama with the gut-wrenching loss at home to Auburn after they had the big lead, we got a little bit of a glimpse of what the chip on their shoulder was going to look like when we saw them in the Capital One Bowl a month later, because they dismantled the Big Ten champion Michigan State team. And so I think they carried that all the way through the summer, all the way through their conditioning programs. I heard they had videos of the second half of that Auburn game running through their weight room all during their lifting sessions in the winter.
Airborne is red. Second effort. Almost lost the ball, but he's in. Touchdown. might look at this one too, but for right now, it's Silas Redd for a touchdown.
It's always a little dangerous when you reach that ball out over the goal line. Silas Redd, all the ball has to do is break the plane.
It's good there, doesn't it?
Yep.
So 71-yard drive, 14 plays. Took him a lot of plays in 4 minutes and 21 seconds. Rob Bolden stays in there as they will go for 2. Thinking that if they get it, it's a 16-point game and 2 touchdowns and 2 two-point conversions. That's a lot of ifs, but you got to play the percentages, I guess, or the card that everybody looks at. So let's see if they can pick up the 2-point conversion and then the onside kick that'll be upcoming. Bolden might run for this one. Dives and got it.
Nice quick decision by Rob Bolden. I think the one thing I've seen out of him today that is a dramatic improvement from when he played in Tuscaloosa last year. His decision making has been quicker today. Much more decisive, throwing the ball, when to run. Took a shot at the end of this play, but this is a good decision. That clock goes off in your head. It's not open. I got to do something else, and he gets a valuable 2 points for his team.
He's taking some big shots today too, and that one, I think it was his right calf or something as he was diving. He grabs his leg, but he did get the 2, and that will have an onside kick upcoming. 27-11. With a minute 53 remaining in the ball game. And a lot of the crowd sticking around. Huge crowd today of 107,846. Coming up September 22nd. Things are going to heat up in the city of Miami, Todd. You know why? Charlie's got 3 new Angels, and they're taking down the criminals who are above the law. From executive producer Drew Barrymore, ABC's Charlie's Angels, all new Thursdays this fall on ABC.
I thought you were saying that Miami was heating up because we're going there next week. That's what I thought you were going to say.
Well, I'm sure wherever you go to eat, that will heat up that particular establishment. So we got an onside kick coming. Evan Lewis will do the honors. A good hands team for Alabama, all up there 10 to 15 yards away from the football. And this one's got a chance, but it's covered by Alabama, and they'll take over with a minute 52. Brad Smelly. Funny that on 2 kicking plays today, the tight end has made a nice play right there. Yeah. It's Smelly with the recovery in the onside kick, but I think the whole game changed on the fake punt, and they got it literally by maybe 2 inches.
Yeah, and as Nick Saban explained to Holly, they didn't execute the play right. They thought it should have been a bigger play. They ended up making it just by that much of the football. But that seemed to give confidence to A.J. McCarron. And then he played with poise. He saw the field. He hit different receivers. And eventually that offensive line, you know, that they played a lot of different guys last week on the offensive line, moved some guys around. They kept that starting group the same. They had continuity with their offensive line. They had continuity with the quarterback. And eventually they wore down this Penn State defense.
Holly was talking about the players saying we got to get better every week. They've gotten better from a week ago, and they give you the impression that maybe the sky is the limit for this team, at least with the defense they have. And as this guy grows into his jersey, number 10, A.J. McCarron, he's going to see more and more
Penn State, the second time out of the half.
Different defenses, but today he's handled a huge crowd and a pretty good Penn State defense very well.
Yeah, he has. And, you know, when you talk about Penn State, I mean, they still got a lot of football left, obviously. I mean, they wanted to fare well in this test today. Early they played better, but they still have a lot ahead of them. 2 more non-conference games at Temple. Steve Adazio, former offensive coordinator at Florida, the new head coach at Temple, then Eastern Michigan before they get into Big Ten play. And, you know, the end of their schedule is where it really heats up for them.
Yeah,
their
last
final 3 games. Yeah. And you know, when you get back to the quarterback situation,
Joe Pa has not left the building, but he's gone down to the locker room. Trent Richardson, he's got over 100 yards today, tacks on a few more, and we're down to 140 to go.
Timeout Penn State. Their 3rd and final timeout of the half. It'll be a 30-second timeout.
That's the last Penn State timeout while we take a quick 30-second timeout. Robert Flores has got something for us. Robert.
Brad, coming up on ESPN history, the first night game at the Big House. Michigan quarterback Denard Robinson leading the Wolverines against Notre Dame. That's coming up 8 o'clock Eastern on ESPN. And right here on ABC, Jimmy Johnson, the five-time defending Sprint Cup champion, leading the field at Richmond.
Alabama leading the field here. Just about ready to leave the field with a big road victory in this 15th matchup. Alabama will go to 10-5 in the series. It started way back in that Liberty Bowl we talked about in 1959. And Rip Engel was the head coach and Joe Paterno was his assistant. I didn't even put that together until Joe told us yesterday. He said, you know, Liberty Bowl used to be in Philadelphia. Well, Liberty, you know, the Liberty Bell. I didn't know that before they moved it to Tennessee. So you learn something every day, especially when you're around Joe Paterno. He is a national treasure, in my opinion. He's up for another prestigious medal that the president would have to award him. The government of Pennsylvania has nominated him for the second year. And if anybody deserves it, with all he and Sue have done for this school and the library and the football team and college football in general, yeah, I'd say he'd be a pretty good recipient. At the 35-yard line, first down. Alabama here in the final minutes with Phillip Sims cleaning up at quarterback. And Eddie Lacy, who's had a big day, puts his head down and gets in the middle. You know, talk about Joe Paterno, Nick Saban, and I mentioned earlier that Joe said that Bear Bryant was still alive, and tomorrow would have been Bear Bryant's 98th birthday on the 10th anniversary of 9/11. Those two had great respect for each other. When Nick was at Michigan State, he beat Joe twice at Penn State. And when you consider that Michigan State's only beat Penn State 4 times in the history of the program, Nick did a pretty good job against Joe there too. But we said, you know, your thoughts about Joe Paterno. And he said, you know, there's mental toughness, there's physical toughness, and there's moral toughness. And if any guy in college football's ever had the moral part of it, it's Joe Paterno with what he's done at Penn State. I thought that was nicely said by Nick.
I like how he explained it too. I mean, moral toughness meaning doing the right thing no matter what the circumstances are.
Right.
And that's what Joe Paterno has been about, doing the right thing. And you know what? I think Nick Saban is doing the right thing at Alabama as well.
Well, they get a big win on the road, that's for sure. They thought it would be tough, and for at least part of the game it was. But then the Alabama defense stiffened, made things very tough on the two quarterbacks of Penn State, including Rob Bolden and Matt McGloin. And it's 27-11 as we go down to Holly.
Now, Coach, I know you say it wasn't executed perfectly, but that fake punt really set a tone and gave your guys some juice. How did that really turn that first half around for you guys?
Well, you know, I think the punt return in the second half was the thing that changed the field position and the momentum of the game and got us ahead in the game. I was a little bit disappointed the way we played 2 minutes at the end of the game defensively. There's always a lot of things you need to work on at this time of the year, but this is a great win for our team. It's a great win for the state of Alabama and all of our fans and people. This is a tough place to come and play, and I'm proud of our guys and the way they competed today.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, thank you.
Only Nick Saban would be worried about the last drive against his defense that made it 27-11. That's our final score. Alabama #3 over Penn State. Don't forget Notre Dame and Michigan tonight on ESPN. Coming up next, NASCAR Sprint Cup Series at Richmond. For Todd Blackledge, Holly Rowe, and our entire crew, Brad Nessler saying so long from Penn State.